Hello, everybody. We are live. I'm joined by Uzulu and maybe some other people soon. Just got to get confirmation. And I'll give you the chat in a minute, Uzulu, if you want. So,
What do you mean?
why don't you go and introduce? Oh, like other people turning up. Other people turning up. What do you mean?
No, I mean, you said you'd give me the chat.
I mean, like the YouTube link, so you can shitpost.
I've already got it.
Oh, right.
I was the first
Okay.
message.
That's just how I say it. So I'll read it in a minute. But anyway, people, so we're just gonna have a little chat, mainly about what's been happening recently. Also, I did a video kind of on what Kraut was on about, but more to do with the individuals that weren't SGWs, but I've sided with them. So while we're at it, Uzley, what's your take on it?
Well, from what I know, none of the facts, none of the evidence that Kraut cited in his video was false. But I would approach the situation very differently than he did, and I don't know for sure. I don't know all the details, but I suspect there may have been some exaggerations or unintentional misrepresentations, and I'm cautious about giving my full support to the video.
Well, I can actually confirm that the events such as Ozia, Dick Coughlin, well, all the events are true. I was there
I'm sure they
witnessing
were.
a lot of
Yeah.
them. Like I did videos on most of them way back. So Ozia and Justin Templar, Thunderfoot getting, essentially harassed, and they didn't dox him though. This is the thing. I think Crack got that wrong, and I forgot to say that in the comments. He wasn't doxed. This was already public. He was doxed way back by a Muslim YouTuber called Dawa Films, or at least he doxed himself so that he didn't get doxed. It's hard to explain, but they didn't dox him. At least maybe it was lost in translation or something. But yeah, it wasn't like that. But it was a good video, and that's just a nitpick. I mean, the point still stands that they used his personal information to get him fired. So yeah, that's literally all it is. Everything else happened. Although there was a good bit that Kraut missed out. That was, Coughlin.
Mm.
The SGWs later turned on him because
sure they
Oh yeah, JJ Talks. I don't know if you've heard of her. She accused him of sexual harassment, which he didn't do, actually.
I'm aware that Coughlin is a very divisive figure. He doesn't really fit into any group.
Yeah, well, he fits more neatly into the SGW camp than he does, the anti-SGW camp. But and to be fair, he was actually really grateful that me and a few others were helping him. It wasn't all me. And in fact, I didn't even make the best videos. It was Hazenberg. I don't know if you've heard of him.
I don't think so.
He's a friend of mine. He might be watching this if he's up. He did great videos. Another guy called Aldous Fowler did some excellent videos on that. There may have been some other bigger people, but essentially, yeah, he got turned on by them because, they listen and believe and assumed that he did do what he didn't do. I mean, they found one picture that he sent to Jenny McDermott, which was actually consensual. But she told me to stop because she thought it was getting a bit too much, and he stopped. That's their evidence.
Yes. Any attempt at male sexuality is rape. I think you'll find.
And even then he was like, "Yeah, I'll stop if you think this is too much." And he was only in his boxes, wasn't even nude.
Oh well, I'm so glad I'm not aware of that drama, because otherwise I probably would have seen that picture.
Yeah, it wasn't nice, but what's out is out. At least it wasn't Amazing Atheist level.
Would you be against me putting the link in a chat with a very small number of YouTubers who you probably know, just to get more people in?
Sure, if you want. I mean, I was thinking about inviting them if I know who you mean. Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Well, wait, I've already sent the link to Kraut and Naked Ape, so we can have some real fun, because Ape is always a blast with me. We have our own in-jokes. I hope he remembers them. So, like, what would you have done differently? I heard you.
It's hard to say. Specifically, as I say, I don't know all the details like Kraut does, but ever since the AIU stuff, I've changed how I approach this kind of situation, how I prioritize different things, and it's actually because of the flaws I noticed in Spino and the way that he reasoned, the way that he approached things, partly because of that I changed the way I do things. And it's basically the idea of not moral fagging, not moral grandstanding, not being interested in making yourself look virtuous or making other people look non-virtuous, but just being interested in merit, being interested in the merit of the arguments. And if something is morally wrong, then appeal to what damage it's going to do rather than to how bad the person doing it is, especially with relation to yourself. And virtue signaling is something I've recently started talking about more because I think it's more prominent than a lot of people think it is. And perhaps my definition is wrong. I don't know, but I'm going to do a video about it probably at some point explaining it. And I think that in Kraut's video, he goes a bit further towards the virtue signaling side than the merit side, in my opinion. And that's not necessarily a criticism. There's nothing necessarily bad about that side. But I think there are a lot of problems with it, and Kraut does go further that way than I do, I think.
Would you say it was when he was trying to urge Oz and Justin to... I don't know, I'm only guessing about what you would think is virtue signaling in that video, but would you say where he tries to urge Oz and Justin to seek legal aid, would you say?
It's not so much that he was virtue signaling, it's the idea of the moral condemnation. Like the video, if we boil down the video into one argument, it would be, these are bad people, therefore you're bad people too. And I don't like the way that sounds, to be honest.
To be honest, although I got his point about I can't hang out with these SJWs, they are crazy, and I'd do the same. To be honest, I've kind of put myself as persona non grata anyway through making those videos all those years ago, and how I still do it. But it's like they're not all. I think this was probably something he wasn't aware of, but I think he was kind of painting with a broad brush. Only that cabal, that clique, is that psychopathic. But I think, like, for many, at least in the world, most of them aren't like that, and I don't think they would stoop that low unless in a group.
Sure, and I'm not trying to say that he was painting everyone who would identify as a feminist or an SJW.
No, not at all.
I think even within that cabal, although they are more collectivistically minded than people like us are, they are still individuals, and I think his criticisms don't necessarily apply to all of them, and I think he does try to collectivize his opponents quite a bit to appeal to guilt by association. Again, I'm not coming hard on Kraut, and I probably should mention all this to him. I just didn't get the chance yet. I still, obviously I still like him. It's just a different style, and it doesn't work for me personally.
It's just constructive. You have a different way of doing things, and you're just giving him a little bit of advice, that's all.
I would hope that's what it is, yeah.
I would hope what I said is the same, really. He's coming in soon if he can get out of bed, apparently. That's what he told me. This was hours ago. He's probably asleep. He deserves it. He never really sleeps, does he?
I don't know. I don't know that much about his sleep patterns. Probably not knowing it, though.
Probably as bad as mine, if not worse. But, I'm glad that video happened because it needed to be made anyways, because of some of those events. They never got the publicity. Well, I don't want to say publicity, but that's the only word I can think of right now. The publicity that they deserved. Because I just feel if somebody big had actually made a video on that at the time, maybe a lot of the events happened. So the false flagging campaign after Laughing Witch got her ass kicked, figuratively speaking, may never have been dared because these big YouTubers are on the lookout for anything bad happening, and maybe, I don't know, you never know, but I just think if more people had done videos like that, we would probably be in a much better position. I don't know, it's hard to explain, and it's just hindsight, really.
I think I see what you mean. I think if you have, though I am against the sort of moral grandstanding thing, I think if someone has information that should reasonably damage the reputation of someone else who is otherwise popular, and if this information isn't very well known, then it is information that's in the interest of the public. You don't have to morally grandstand to put it out there. You don't have to seek virtue. It can be a meritorious based argument. Just tell the truth, go through the facts, and don't morally condemn. Maybe at the end say, I find this morally reprehensible, but don't focus on that for the entire video. I don't know. It's kind of subtle. It's more of a mindset, more of an attitude than a method, I guess. But I think it does make a big difference when it's employed correctly. That's why I try to do that. And I didn't in the past. I didn't. I failed to do this in the past, but I've only recently come to this realization, and I'm going to try to do so in the future.
I've noticed a few things when I've made videos on a few dramas. So like Bearing one I noticed, and I think the Blondie one, even though I think I was right, but like I think I could have handled it a bit differently. Like maybe I shouldn't have been too rash. Maybe I should have thought things through a bit more. Like just wait, see what happens, logs more stuff so I could have more evidence. I mean, we had evidence with the Bearing thing, but they just didn't accept it, in my opinion. I thought it was enough to go on, and I also think I shouldn't really, well, not moral grandstand. And I think with the Blondie, I got a bit emotional because I did like her. To be fair, we were kind of friendly acquaintances / friends. Hey, Carlos, can you hear me? Is he there?
Hello, I can hear you.
Ah, I saw something then. Say something, Carlos.
Hello.
Yeah, there you are.
Yeah.
So, is anyone coming from that group easily?
No one has yet.
Anyone?
No.
They're probably watching Bearing.
So it's Bearing streaming.
Is that guy that is he talking to that guy that Steve Shives likes? Steve Shives recently started shilling this guy who writes articles. Pretty sure.
Eli Bosnick? No, it's
Bosnick,
not.
yeah.
It's not something Bear. The guy's last name is Bear. It's not that guy.
Oh, right. Yeah, I know what you mean. Because I keep seeing these names that he pops up. Mind you, I loved his meltdown recently. Did you see it?
What, over Lacey? Yeah.
Yeah.
On Twitter.
And on Facebook, he said if he could, he'd terminate all our channels.
I saw that. Yeah. Yeah. He doesn't need any more reasons to realize that he's a piece of shit, basically. And I don't mean that in the moral condemnation sense. To clarify, I mean that he's just not a very good person in terms of.
He isn't. And I mean, when you get YouTubers like that Matter 2525 publicly saying I shouldn't have shilled you in the past, you know you fucked up.
Well, I mean, to be fair, in the past, the flaws you couldn't really notice them. It's only in the change of context that you could. So I wouldn't. I mean, I used to watch Steve Shives ages ago, way before all this shit happened. But as soon as I knew what was going on, it was like I lost respect for his ability to reason properly. So I stopped watching him.
So, Carlos, what do you think about all this? You've been a bit quiet.
I was letting you guys talk. Many people have missed Kraut's point, I have to say. Kraut was not virtue signaling or anything. He was just pointing out how the SJWs basically don't condemn anyone from their group like we do. You guys have condemned. I know, Mitch, you've condemned. You two have condemned people, Yuzulu. I've seen some of your stuff. I condemn a lot of people in my own way. I'm not as a content creator. You guys are. I'm shit at dialogues and that, but I do it in Twitter, for example. And the point was that what Kraut called out was the examples, the extreme examples he gave, but that was his point. He gave extreme examples. That idiot Napoleon, for example, Willie Bumble being blatantly lying because she's lies, her shit. I've seen what she is and what her husband has done before. I even got to know got to know her better. It just confirmed how she is, and that no one from their side actually says anything. The crickets are just bloody deafening. And
I think that's probably true. And if that was the main point of Kraut's video, then fine. I think for the most part that is true, but it's certainly not perfect on one side and zero on the other. I think we are better than them at doing it, but it's not.
Of course not. Exactly. Yeah. We absolutely. But it's an example of he went to the extremes. Obviously, he chose the most obnoxious people that he could find from that camp, AW camp, and but that's how you make a point. You have to. You can't get the least or the most normal type of response. So you have to find extremes because they fucking do it.
Yeah, the thing is, it was still a bunch of moral arguments, and they're not necessarily wrong, but I don't find them very compelling. I don't find them very interesting. I think if we're talking about calling out people for poor arguments, I think our side still does that more than theirs. But when it comes to calling people out for immoral actions, I don't find that to be very worthwhile.
Do you think it kind of distracts from the point, from the argument, what we're supposed to be doing, the discussion? Would you say?
It's the thing is that you got to look at the reason that people are doing it. If you are saying that someone is immoral, there's only a few things you could be trying to achieve from that. Either you have information that you think should be known by the public and you think should realistically damage their character, and you just want the public to be aware because that's that's the nature of public figures. This shit wouldn't work if we didn't hold each other to account. But there's another motive, which is to say that this group of people, or even just this one person, is bad, and look at me, I'm so great for calling it out. And that second part doesn't even have to be conscious. A lot of people do it without meaning to. And so in that first example, it's very nuanced. It's the way that you do it is very different from the way Kraut went about it, which is why I think he wasn't necessarily virtue signaling, but he was focusing on the morality of the situation and the virtue side more than the merit.
Would you say an emotional argument?
Yeah. A lot of it was emotional. Yeah, a lot of it was pathos rhetoric rather than logos rhetoric or dialect.
Would you think that let's say who would be the most sort of extreme on the anti-SJW? So I'm thinking of Veggie Sphinx. Do you think he would do a campaign to infiltrate, hack, like what they did to OZR? Do you think anyone?
What they did to OCR was even beyond anything AIU did. I mean, that was even beyond anything him or any of his followers did.
If anyone from our side, if anyone from the anti-SJWs, anti-feminist side would do that, we would call them out, don't you think?
Oh yeah, I would.
I probably wouldn't, because it's not very interesting to me to do the moral argument thing. Yeah, but I would think it's worth them losing reputation over in terms of the merit of the person.
Yeah, but there naturally has to be a moral argument, because we are choosing to condemn that. That is a moralistic view. If we
that's why I don't do the condemnation thing.
Well, people have to be called out if they do something that's despicable.
They don't have to be. I mean, you can put out the facts, and then they'll lose reputation naturally. But it doesn't have to be moral.
No, but putting out the facts, what they did is a condemnation. It's not
necessarily. If you're just describing their actions and saying, I find this to be unreasonable, I find this to be the actions of someone that I don't want to associate with, then you can do it without it being a moral argument. You can do it as exclaiming that this person is not a person worth having the reputation they do.
I think I know what you mean. I think it's more of a case of letting the facts get out there and let people. Who knows? Maybe I don't get what you mean, but I think what you mean is let the facts speak for themselves and let people essentially make their own minds up, right?
Yeah. You can definitely notice the difference, the way people explain the facts. I'm sure all the facts in Kraut's video were true, and I'm sure he at least intended to represent them more accurately, and probably did, for the most part. But the way he presented them still demonstrated that he was more interested in the moral condemnation than the sort of more solid or meritorious aspects of the case.
Go on, Carlos.
I was just going to say, I personally don't think that's bad ultimately. Because SJWs and such, like the more extreme left, they do those moralistic values. If we sit on our chairs or whatever, or on the fence, you can say, no, we're just going to present the facts. We're not going to engage in their propaganda. But propaganda is what wins hearts. And today, humans, as a species, which I study as an archaeologist, we are emotional beings. Our emotions of
we shouldn't be. We should strive to be better.
We are. It's our primate nature. We can't escape from it.
Hey, Carlos, long time no speak with you.
How are you, man?
I'm good. How are you?
You sound tired.
I wanted to say thank you to you for
Oh,
the help you delivered for me in researching my last video, for helping me gather the information together, for being really great at just reminding me of things that I could have forgotten. Thank
it's
you
all
very
right. Don't
much.
worry about it, mate. Don't worry. I was getting worried about that then, because admittedly, I was like, "Where's Oz and Oozaloo the Mind's credit?" But then we've got it now. So, and plus that was petty of me, and I get like that
No,
sometimes.
it's
Ignore
not
me.
petty. It wasn't petty at all. It wasn't fucking
Nah,
petty at all.
ignore me. Ignore
I'm
me,
an
man.
idiot for forgetting it. I should give you
Nah.
credit.
I didn't mind anyway. It's like, it's one of those things.
Do you
And
know
it's
how
like-
relieved I feel? I feel really relaxed right now. Like a month of stress and anger is just gone.
To be honest, I was kind of worried about where it was. I was like, no progress report. Oh well, let's just wait. And he did it eventually. I knew you would, but I was like, I'd like to know where it's at. I should have asked you myself though.
Yeah.
So what surprised you about the reaction the most? Is it the same people doing the same criticisms,
I'm actually making a follow-up video for that on my, because they're completely ignoring the Aussie and Justin Templar thing. And one of them actually even made a joke about it because it's apparently such a funny thing that happened there.
They are totally just concentrating on attacking you, not actually looking at. But that's normal. This probably is not a moralistic judgment. I feel that's normal for them. They are trying to make it that they are dismissing it is nothing of importance. But that's their tactic. They have no argument, no factual arguments to present.
That's why it is so important to get Ozzy to press criminal charges, or at the very least to get Justin Templar to press criminal charges, because you can do semantic games in a lot of things, but I guarantee you a prosecutor doesn't give a shit about semantic games.
Oh yeah, they would. The people that did that would be fucked if that actually went to court.
Yeah.
Yes.
But before we go any further, I've got to say that it was clearly a lot of effort you put into that video, and congratulations for making it. And it's good that someone is talking about the issues, although I don't fully agree with the way you went
I'm
about
not talking about the issues. That's the thing, because the video isn't about issues; it's community stuff.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Though I mean the events.
Yeah. God, and I feel
Although-
so relaxed now.
You know what I should have done? I forgot to remind you about one thing, which has made the Coughlin point really kind of like really better, because like when he was attacking Thunderfoot, right? Which was all to do with apparently mental illness. He has a history of that, so not all of it's necessarily his fault, but when he was lucid, it was his fault. So it was all about attention, that, and then it just boiled into politics. Eventually, the SJWs turned on him because what happened was someone called
Sexual
JJ.
assault. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, harassment.
Sorry.
It was about nudes.
Sexual.
Yeah, there were no nudes. The best they could come up with was something he sent to Jenny McDermott consensually. And when she said, "This is getting a bit too much, stop," he stopped. And it was his boxers. It was in his boxers. Yeah, but I thought this is my only nitpick. Like, if you put that immediately after when you mentioned that, people would have been like, karma. Although, I do feel sorry for him because he didn't deserve it.
I didn't even know he was around until recently.
Oh yeah, he's still going. Still going. He was really grateful to me as well. Like, we were on Skype. We were Skype friends for a while, but then I lost my original Skype. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it was weird. I thought he wouldn't be, but he was. I guess, at that, when you're in a place like that, when you're getting accused, you know what it's like for guys, for men especially.
Yeah.
I guess you take help from anywhere.
He's been doing YouTube for probably since about the beginning, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Around
only
about.
10 years.
He's only got
8
about
years.
10,500 subscribers. I always had the impression that he was sort of toiling in obscurity, because I
Well,
was aware vaguely that he existed, but I'd never seen any of his videos.
the story to that is he used to have about 40,000,
Okay.
30,000, something like that. 35, I think. We're going to round it 35. And then the Thunderfoot thing happened, and then I think he got flagged by somebody, and then he lost that channel, and now he's just been trying to regrow ever since. But because of his reputation, he'll never get that back.
Yeah. Unless he works hard. I actually think that everyone can grow if they work hard.
Yeah, and it's
My
been a long
problem
time
is,
now.
the problem is he's not learned from that experience. So
Yeah.
he will. Like I remember immediately
Well,
after
maybe
that.
he does. I'm not going to make a judgment over him yet because the only thing I have on him is the things he did in the past. Maybe he's a completely different person now.
He's certainly more stable, but what I mean is he hasn't. He does the same things that JJ did to him. Like when Sargon got shielded by this EDL guy, he got David Vitrell from We Hunted the Mammoth to do a hit piece on him, and I was really angry with that.
Okay, so not much change at all.
No,
I'm going to drop out again because I have to finish the follow-up video.
fair enough. We'll see you in a bit.
You guys later.
See you, man.
All right, so I just did my own video. You know what? Maybe I need to give that a break. I was going to give myself a break on these things, but you know what? People keep being idiots, so I've got to keep calling it out, right?
Ah, shit. Apparently Nigel Farage was somewhere near me recently. I didn't go and see him. That would have been fun.
Really?
Yeah.
You could have done like shouted some memes at him or something.
Oh God!
I know that.
You guys know that I think you guys. Mitch knows at least that I'm totally British, even though I'm Portuguese. Growing up in Australia, and that I find that your politicians are fucking awesome, even the worst of them.
I don't know. There definitely some of them are.
Oh no,
I mean, what's his face? I can't remember his name. The MRA one. I can't remember.
Philip Davis, right?
Yes,
he's fucking awesome. I love that guy.
Yeah.
We have the most fucking boring politicians. They are all fucking centrist cunts.
And it's funny you say that because people are saying that characters are gone now from British politics.
They haven't. Boris Johnson's the quintessential shit. What's that word?
Troll?
No. Oh God, my English sometimes fails me.
Do you want me to read you?
It's eccentric politician.
Well, he's the only... eccentric
British.
Yeah, do you want me to read you a limerick that he wrote?
Go on.
Oh, please do.
Give me a moment to find it. It's not just a limerick either. It's a political limerick. You're going to like this. Okay, so this was written by Boris Johnson, currently Britain's Foreign Secretary.
Exactly.
Quote, there was a young fellow from Ankara who was a terrific wankerer till he sowed his wild oats with the help of a goat, but he didn't even stop to thank her. So, Erdogan is a goat fucker, according to our Foreign Secretary.
Supposedly, yeah.
I mean, he probably isn't wrong.
Well, the thing is, when people say there's a lack of characters, he's the only one left, or at least the only one we have. And even then, he pales in comparison to all the others because you look at Spitting Image. If anyone's heard of that,
I grew up with that.
Like all the characters, they were like that. The guys were like that. So all the caricatures, but essentially the politicians that often would say, "Yeah, I see myself in that." Like there's one of them they put in like a British bomber jacket or something to make him look like a bit of a mod, bit of a lad. Because that's what he was.
Should I remember him? God, not Portobello or whatever his name is. The one that
Portillo. No, not
Portillo,
him.
Yeah. No, the other one. He was supposedly thuggish.
Not Heseltine. It wasn't Heseltine. He wasn't.
No, not Heseltine. God, I forget their names. I'm shit at names.
I forgot his name.
Yeah. God, he looked like a boxer in real life. Oh man. But yeah, we remember the well, at least if you've seen Spitting It, I remember them living that fucking era. That's how fucking old I am. And that they were characters. Thatcher, the way she was the Iron Lady, and in Spitting Image, they all cowled at her. that is pure what I love about Britain.
And then there's the Labour Party also had a load of characters, which now they only have. Well, even back then, like they were lovable. Like you've got Dennis Skinner is still alive.
Mm-hmm.
He's the only one.
Kinnock, who was Ben,
rest in peace, Tony.
Yes,
Tony Ben.
Yes.
Who, by the way, probably would be really not happy with the way Labour's gone. I think.
Labour's doing great these days.
Yeah,
doing amazing. I mean, with who knew, right, that the key to political success was communism and incompetence?
Not even Dennis Skinner's that bad, and he's like old school as they get.
Yeah, but
He actually,
Skinner was quite rational. God damn it.
yeah, he voted Brexit, didn't he?
Yeah.
He's like the only one who's stayed consistent for the last 30 years, right? Even Corbyn ended up just flip-flopping.
Corbyn is just too much of an ideologue. God, I can't find anyone in Portuguese politics that God, we are basically from our Green Party to our the heir of our dictatorship, which is the CDS, the Christian Democrats. If they are bloody tame in comparison to every other country in Europe, even Spain. Spain is quite radical. They have the feminists run the country, even worse than in Britain, because shit, they had special courts that in divorce courts that the men went there and they were automatically put in jail. You didn't. They just someone. There's been documentaries on that. And
by the way, the guy that we're trying to remember, Theory Con to Zen says it might be Norman Tebbit.
Yes, Tebbit. Yep. That's it. Yes, it was always as much hair as I have.
You know what I found? When I was doing my degree, my history degree, I did a podcast, but it was going to be a documentary, right? I had these grand, like you can do anything. You can write a thing. You can do anything you want as long as you have something to show at the end. And I was looking up stuff on the riots in Moss Side in 1981, and I found a spitting image parody of the Greater Manchester police chief. Now, the only reason he was on there was because he was, one, a character, two, he was insane. Like, just he actually revolutionized policing. Like, without him, there is no modern British police. Like, there wouldn't be as many cameras today. There wouldn't be these special tactical aid squadrons that you see. He invented that, although they were a lot more corrupt when he actually made them. Like, they got accused of drug running, weapons smuggling.
Like, the good old days.
Yeah, they did do it. And to be honest, even though this riot happened on the same time as other riots in Brixton and Toxteth and all that, it wasn't actually a race riot. It was police brutality because white people were also brutalized, especially if they were Irish. And but it got grouped in with actual race riots like in Coventry. And I think Toxteth may have been one. And my dissertation was about whether or not it was, and debating it if they were a riot and stuff like that. And to be honest, of course the rioters had a point, but when I now look back at it, I think rioting was the wrong thing to do. But then again, this is a bunch of working class people from Hume and Moss Side who, let's be honest, at the time, maybe they are now, they're older, they didn't really have a way of articulating those feelings. But again, it's no excuse.
No,
it's historical fact what happened. So anyway, Usually, you've been a bit quiet. We're just going on about history and my degree. Bloody hell. So
don't let me. Yeah, come on.
It's like I've been thinking, and I don't know about you guys, but I've been thinking about towards the end of this era that we're in, the social justice lot, like who's going to be the next big thing, the big menace, the ones who are now going to attack our rights? Because I've been thinking mainly that it's going to be the alt-right, but then again, they're really small.
I disagree. People have said that for a while, particularly actually Spino has been saying that, and for a while ago Kraut was as well. People like Jeff Holiday, I think, also have been saying that. I disagree. I think that they're a symptom of a problem that is likely to go away in the next 10 years. The current instability in the world that's somewhat being answered by the rise of the populist right. I think I'm not saying that the right are going to fix the problems, but I think they're going to do more to fix the existing problems that are perceived than the previous administrations were, and the what you might call the globalist establishment has been doing for decades. However, that establishment still exists and still holds power, like in the US with the deep state, the problems will persist, but they won't be as bad as they would be under, for example, Hillary. So I think that the problem will wane, and the alt-right's justification will reduce. The general public are not going to accept white nationalism. There's no way.
I'll be right back.
I agree with you that it won't be the left or even the right, but even the right. I think it'll be the corporations that are.
Yeah, I think
yeah. It sounds too much of a conspiracy theory, which I hate repeating, but I sort of can see tendencies. And the tendency is that there's been a great push of the extreme left. And if every time an extreme left in history has made what they're doing now, like in the 20s and 30s, there's then the extreme reaction to that extreme, which
yes,
is
but only once. Right now, the people who are in the middle. Right now, the people who are in the middle between the extremes. Excuse me, the liberals, constitutionalists. These people are resisting the extreme.
Now
left.
they are, yes, because they are learning from history, while the extremes are not. I've said this many times. They talk about the horseshoe theory. I argue that the horseshoe has joined the ends, and the left and the extreme left and right are basically one unit, doing nothing really, just fighting, because they're just reacting against each other. And
I think the thing about the horseshoe theory is that you do see common themes at both ends, but they're certainly not the same. The point where it crosses over is 1984. It's hard to distinguish whether or not that's all the way on the top left of the political compass or in the top middle.
Right, yeah.
I don't know. I've always said that it's like the most absolute socialism that you can get. But people have also pointed out elements of that are like fascism, and I think they may have points there. But it's not like free market system. So in terms of economics, it's not all the way right. But
no. I know what you mean. Yeah,
ways in theory to reach that point between the ends of the horseshoe. But I think the horseshoe theory is reductive.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, I agree. But the problem is Germany has forgotten what it was to live under a dictatorship, and it's heading for one somehow. England
someone has managed to convince them that the qualities of the dictatorship were different from what they actually were. The way to avoid it is to do things that will actually head towards it. It's hard to put into words exactly what I mean, but like
I do see what you mean. Yeah,
the authoritarianism and the collectivism is no longer seen as the problem. It's the fact that it was focused on
killing people.
Well, no, not even that. Focused on societal strength rather than sort of deferism, rather than societal capitulation. Because it's just sort of a weakness versus strength thing. It's a very common dichotomy you find in societies, and for some reason, fascism is seen as an embodiment of the strength side before it's seen as an embodiment of authoritarianism and collectivism by the radical left, who are for authoritarianism and collectivism, at least in what they advocate and what they do, but they are just against the like societal strength and meritocratic side of things.
Yes, exactly. Yep. Perfectly. Yes, exactly.
Anyway,
they misunderstand.
I'd like to add though, after this, I don't see the left recovering for a couple of decades because they're not learning, or at least the ones in charge are not learning. And I feel that people like me, you usually, Carlos, are you on the left, or are you more centre or right?
No, I'm centre left. I'm centre left, basically centre left. Yeah.
Yeah, and Crow, we're
on the left. Yeah.
I feel we're a minority. I could be wrong. Maybe it just feels that way, but we're such a minority, and we've got such. If we are a minority, we've got little. If we're not a minority, we've got little power, a little way to sway things. That is going to take a long time, and I feel that if history is to repeat itself, the left-wing parties of the world are just going to do what the Blairites did, and what the Democrats did, and shift to the right to cater to the public, even though the public just want, I'd argue, both options to choose from, and whoever comes up with the best vision for their country wins. But I don't know. I have a feeling unless they don't wake up, they're never going to. There's not going to be that parity because, as Luce Laveau says, you need both sides to be strong in order for there to be a more stable society. You know?
Yeah, I've said a similar thing. The thing about the pendulum is you want it to keep swinging. You can't just have a bunch of centrists, even though that might be the kind of policies I prefer, because then nothing ever changes. You never experiment with the ideas from both sides. But if you have people who are too extreme on either side, then you go communism, fascism, communism, fascism. You don't want that either. What you want is conservatism, liberalism to swing between those two, whilst maintaining the core values that keep societies running, that the proven values that actually work to keep a society.
That's how Australia. That's how Australia worked until about the early 2000s. When I was living there, there were the Liberal Party, Liberal Coalition, Liberal National Party, and the Labor Party. They were basically conservative, but not too far to the right, and Labor not too far to the left. They were around what Portugal is about now. Is now. They would switch between the parties occasionally in cycles, but there was nothing extreme. The country there was stable. There was enough dynamics for the people to better themselves and all that shit. It wasn't those extremes that came after. I don't know which prime minister it started, but it had to have been after Keating, which was the last that I remember. He was the Labor Party, but shit, he would be conservative now.
Also, do you think? Sorry, go on. Do you want to continue?
That was about it. It's God, it's fucking.
But Japan's interesting though, because Japan's only had like one party ruling forever and ever. Well, for the last couple of decades, because for some reason the people keep voting for them and they keep getting in. Do you think that could happen over here, potentially, like in any country?
Well, I think it could if the governments provide what the people want to an extent, shit. But it also society. It begins at school level. They teach civics, for example. Shit, in Portugal we teach civics, and even fucking Catholic civics. My kids, I'm a totally unbeliever. I sent my kids to those classes and that because it was one way for them to have field trips and that. And the teachers were relatively tame. They didn't indoctrinate shit in them. But that's how it sort of starts there and goes on to the university. In Japan, even in Portugal and Japan, we don't teach Marxist shit. The teachers just teach the subject, at least here, they have the experience of that. And at the end of the classroom, they fucking go and get their paycheck. That's what they want. So there's no real indoctrination. There's more indoctrination from the Erasmus program when they'll help students leave, because the other students, when they come here, I bet they are fucking freaked out by where are my safe spaces and shit.
So easily,
I've seen examples of that, yeah.
So do you think anything like Japan could happen here with one party essentially ruling, but democratically?
It's a nice thing about democracy is that it acts a bit like capitalism in terms of supply and demand. If Labour falls apart, and it seems like it will at least continue to fall, it's not going to recover itself, especially not with Corbyn in charge, then there's a good chance some other left-wing party will take prominence. But I think it will take time, and it will depend on how many sane leftists they can find. So obviously it depends on the current state of the left. And them getting votes will take time. So yes, I think we are in for quite a while of very little power from the left in politics in the UK. And if Labour's any indication, but things might change. The Lib Dems might take the second spot. And I don't think they're much better, to be honest.
No. They're not. No. I liked Sargon's video today, This Week in Stupid, where he suggested that some of the traditional old school type Labour Party leaving and forming their own bloc, and waiting till the other the cult of personality Corbyn is extinguishes itself, and then vampirize those that are sane. You can say fucking sane. They are sane.
Do you know what I think might happen?
Go on.
Sorry, just before the election, I think a lot of Labour candidates are going to try to make it very public that they are revolting against Corbyn shortly before the election, because then they'll get elected in their local constituencies. They're more likely to. But I mean, for one thing, it'll get more votes for the party. So Corbyn will actually have a better chance if they do that, but it will also work for them independently. But they're more likely to get kicked out of the party if they openly revolt against him, especially if they keep that position. But even if they don't, even if they're doing it dishonestly, it's more likely to get the party votes.
I sort of disagree, because these days I don't know how the fucking people, how they react to that. Traditionally, if a party member revolted against the party, he would be seen as a traitor, and the base would, or the people who would vote, would say, no, he's untrustworthy. He's not loyal to his party. He's not going to be loyal to my interests, for example.
Yeah, but people hate Corbyn.
Oh yeah.
With good reason. So not being loyal to him would actually be quite a good thing. Like, people have to engender loyalty. People have to earn loyalty.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
You know, I think there's a lot of optimism when he first broke through, when he first actually got elected, because they thought, well, okay, Labour's going back to basics, going back to what they were before Blair changed it to a more centre-right thing. But it's gone completely the opposite way. And I remember when I first saw about that. Did I make a video, or did I just express sentiment? I said that, okay, well, it seems to be a good idea. Even Sargon was like, yeah, this seems like a good idea. Eric Pizzi even, said he was good. But I said, if he falls for the social justice stuff, if he gets too influenced by them, if he starts to become part of an echo chamber or creates one, then we're going to have an issue. And sadly, that's what's happened, because in the news we all saw what happened. The female-only carriages, and then there might have been a few others. I'm trying to remember stuff. Then there was workplace after drinks stuff. Like just going for a pint, because apparently that helps you get promoted when it doesn't. Like it's how you work. I mean, yeah, you can be friends with your boss. You can be fantastic friends with your boss. That doesn't mean you're going to get a fat promotion. I mean, if they were cronies, maybe. I mean, probably that does happen, but in most cases, I don't think that does. And I think the way he described it, he made it look like much more of a problem than it was. But I think he was also pandering to, the idiots. And then it's just snowballed from there. It's gotten worse and worse. He's getting more extreme. He's also flip-flopping. So whereas before he was more Eurosceptic, now he's Eurocentric, when he obviously isn't. Like, he's doing this just to be leader still and to pander to whatever the party wants, but the party don't want him. And it's like, can you just be consistent? I think people would respect him more if he was just consistent and wasn't disingenuous or dishonest. And that's what he's fallen into. That's just from my, observations. I mean, even my mum is sick of him, and I'm like, well, my mum, she's sick of him, and she's like old school, kind of like Labour, kind of. I mean, I say Labour, but I mean more like
we are working class.
Like,
Yeah, I know how it works. We are working class. We want to the policies that help us, the people that have to I'm from the working class. I've studied, so I don't work like my dad did or my mum, but my wife does. My wife works hard, much hard. Fuck, I sometimes embarrassed because I sit around in the desk attending people that come to the museum, for example. That's not real work. And I see how my wife, she has to clean. She works at a local camping site. She does the house, the keeping, what do you call it? She washes the clothes, the sheets and all that, makes up the beds and everything. She does maintenance, basically, or cleaning, like a janitor. And I know how hard she works, so I get home and I do most of the stuff. But we want politicians that help us get good conditions, at least, not be exploited by bosses. Get at least a decent wage, not like in here in Portugal, where the minimum wage is 660 euros. No, 600 euros. 600 euros. The minimum wage is here. and gasoline is one of the petrol is one of the highest in Europe. So we need those policies. And when people like Corbyn come up and not, it's not even virtue signaling, it's bloody condensation. What's the word? Condescension.
Oh, condescension, right?
Yeah, to the people that work and say, "Oh, you are fucking racist. You are scum. You voted for Brexit. You are all that shit." Of course, they're gonna fucking not like that.
I mean, I'm not even either. I didn't even vote in Brexit, but I thought the way he flip-flopped and started using a lot of the same bold arguments, I was just like, come on, mate. We all know what you really think. Just because you're now saying one thing doesn't mean that you think another. And in Sargon's video, when he was trying to be good on defense, I'm just like, we know you're a pacifist, mate. Just be more open about it.
I did a video about this as well. Yeah, he has said in the past, I think, that he's a pacifist, but recently he said he's not, and he was still very light on defending his country. I'm very glad that he's not going to get in because he would be totally useless in that situation.
I mean,
the thing is, like, he doesn't understand mutually assured destruction. He doesn't understand the value of nuclear weapons. You have to convince other world leaders that you're just crazy enough to use them if they do something to you. Otherwise, the threat isn't there. He's the fucking vice president of a nuclear disarmament organization. He's completely unfit for purpose. He would not be. He would basically negate the nuclear deterrent in our country.
He would. I mean, if he has genuinely changed it, his opinions, he hasn't actually presented it in a way to the public that looks honest. It very much looks like he's just trying to get in. Although when I was reading some of the highlights of his of the manifesto that got leaked, and I thought about, should I continue reading it? But it was so long, the actual one, and oh god, and I'd be doing it late, and I thought there's no point. Maybe if they do an abridged version, I'll do that. But I was reading some of the
his MPs.
He asked for it. He wanted to answer the report.
Yeah, I heard that they didn't like it. They rejected it, didn't they?
How often does that happen?
It's probably happened a few times on all sides. I think it depends how unpopular the leader is. So I imagine it's probably happened to who was after Thatcher? Thingy, old man, grey hair, glasses.
Shit.
Chat, help us. Hang on, just gonna. Oh, come on. Okay, I'm gonna Wikipedia. Margaret Thatcher.
Faster sometimes.
He was pro Europe, wasn't he? He was having a few. I liked his speech. John Major, that's it.
Major, yeah.
He actually, it was technically a coup, wasn't it? Technically, when he ousted her, like a party.
It was a coup.
Britain has coups, but they're in parties. It's not the country. Like, I reckon that probably happened to Blair. That's why he had to leave because. Sorry.
That's what would happen in Australian parties and that, because they follow the Westminster system. You vote in the party, not the leader. Then the leader is chosen by the majority of the thing. And I think that's a good system, by the way. In Australia, we had frequently revolts. Like 2 years. What was her name before Abbott? Julian something. They swapped the leaders 3 years by the 3 times with the same 2 people. So it's natural that. And the problem with Corbyn is not just Corbyn; it's the people he has. Abbott, she's a wreck of a person.
Yeah,
Diane Abbott, the Treasury or the Chancellor of the Shadow Chancellor of the Exchequer. Oh God, that's a big thing to say. He's also a Marxist, and he's being called that. He says, I'm a Marxist in a secret thing. I asked him many times. Not from Sargon. I've seen that on YouTube with those weird, funny videos. Are you a Marxist? No, I'm a socialist. Are you a Marxist? No, I'm a socialist. But you said you were a Marxist. No, I'm a socialist. That is horrific if voters look at that.
I don't think there are many people in the UK who would respect either.
Yeah.
Which is
and
good.
There's this new one. She's I don't know what she is. I couldn't open it up because my computer at work's fucked.
Is this a new Labour MP? But I'd like to mention that.
Yeah, one of the ministers or something, shadow ministers. She's blonde hair.
Oh, she had a car crash interview, didn't she?
Yeah, that
oh
one.
No.
They have tendencies.
I'll
to
tell
do
you one
those
thing. I don't know if there's been a change, if there was like a reshuffle recently, but I remember the environment minister. She was saying that meat eaters are like smokers. You just know as soon as people are saying that, you're like, oh no. He's basically, apart from a few, he's basically just brought in university people into his shadow cabinet.
Here's what I should do, right? You can't steal this idea. This is I'm patenting this. Okay.
Okay, go on. Yeah.
I should go through every member of the Labour Party who supports Corbyn and just find something really stupid they've said, and it won't be difficult either. Something fundamental, and just say like, okay, here's why this one's incompetent. Here's why this one's incompetent. Here's why this one is incompetent. Just go through like that.
What if you find one that's really good?
Then I'll fucking say it. But I don't think I'll need that contingency. To be honest.
Oh god, those train wrecks. That's why I repeat. That's why I love British politics. They are fucking funny. We don't have those moments. We had those moments with our one of the leaders. He was from the Christian Democrats. He was known as the fair. You know what a fair is? You have them in England.
What do you mean, like a circus?
No, market type fair.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
we still have them here.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
And he used to just go to the market type fair things and kiss the old ladies, except that when he got into power, he fuck up the old ladies, and he was a character. But oh man, I want good ones, and the UK has them. Oh, awesome. Yes.
It's worrying because, like easily said, if the pendulum swings too far to the right or to the left and it stays there for a while, it can only really be a bad thing because there's not enough counter ideas coming in to kind of shift things up a bit. And that's happened with Britain a fair few times, like especially in the 80s. That probably happened, and that's why Labour changed as well in the 90s. And there's all these consensus shifts as well. And like I remember thinking there's a parallel to the 80s right now in the UK, but there's a slight few differences because that Labour is weak now, like they were back then. They're much now. And there's no, and the thing is, the Tories don't even need a Falklands War to happen again or anything like that. If their Falklands War happened, it's happened online in this culture war. That's their Falklands War, and they didn't need to do anything. They didn't need to take part. Some of them are actually kind of social justicey themselves. Theresa May is to some degree, or is it Cameron? Cameron was. There's a few of them that have expressed similar types of views. Like they pander, they take things off from them, and then. That's a social justicey thing. They would do that.
Oh yeah, they would. Yeah, they do. They don't. Would they do that?
They do. Yeah. And it's like this is probably going to be the easiest election they're ever going to have. And
absolutely.
And then that also has to spell the end of Corbyn, right? Surely.
If the Tories, which if they, instead of going too much to the right, if they even go slightly to the centre, just a little bit, in some aspects, social and so on, and economic, they could even go more to the right, have a slightly more, not necessarily protectionist, but national interest-y. Country has to take care of its people first, and then think about other people. If the Tories are intelligent and they win the election, and then they play fucking hard. I mean, the complete hardball with Europe, the EU, and threaten them, mates. If we don't get a deal by 2019 or 20, anyway, let's say 20. 2 years, more or less. We will just at the middle of it. We will stop negotiations, apply WTO, World Trade Organization tariffs, and that's it. Which means it's still fucking free trade with Europe. I've been reading on that shit. Even if they apply hard Brexit, it's still free trade with Europe. Like the same what Norway and Switzerland are doing with Europe. I hope the British people realise that. The Tories should pass that message, saying, look, we will do a fucking hard Brexit. They owe us. We were not going to pay anything. We need, if they want us to be friendly with them, we will apply the World Trade Organization rules. We still have free trade with them, but they lose out.
I don't know. It's not really my it's not really my specialty, economics, to be honest.
Neither is mine. I'm an archaeologist, man. But we both see the news. We can read and so on. And
what I mean,
damn it.
What I want to know is, and usually we'll know more about this. Maybe you know more. Oh, Atheist Gamer's in the chat. Hello, mate. How are you? Still salty. Anyway,
Awesome.
Enough about him.
Yeah.
Usually, and maybe Carlos, you probably know more. What exactly does the alt-centrist mean? I keep seeing it, and I don't get it.
Well,
it's a fucking made-up word, I reckon.
If you want me to explain what I think it actually is originated from, it's basically the idea that people consider, or there's a perception that some people consider centrism to be the objectively most intelligent position to take on politics, and that being on either side makes you just a inherently idealistic tribalist. Now, I don't think that's completely wrong, but I think it's an exaggeration of the position. But it's fine, because all comedy is exaggeration. So the alt-centrist meme is, I think some people were trying to take it seriously because they feel that like centrism is not being accurately represented, or their brand of centrism. But I think mostly it's just a meme to mock people who consider centrism to be its own tribe, I guess.
Or the fence sitters, because I've heard that may be a reaction to the term, the quote unquote insult. Oh, you're fence sitters. No, we're alt centrists, man. We have that shit and stuff. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, there's the fact that the position on the political compass is an average means that someone who doesn't really care about their positions, whose positions could be anywhere but tend to be pretty moderate, they'll be in the center. But someone who really understands politics and knows that, okay, here's what I want from the left, here's what I want from the right, and they have sometimes fairly radical views, but generally they average to a moderate, they'll be in the same place on the political compass. So I sympathize with people in the latter camp who want to differentiate themselves from people in the former camp. And that's, I think, what the concept radical centrist comes from, which is actually originally meant seriously.
Oh, there's radical centrists?
Yeah, because I saw
centrist is that, but also more authoritarian, I think. I think that's how it started. But
that's an oxymoron.
There's the extreme alt-centrists, and these people are very serious.
Yeah.
That's even worse than an oxymoron. How the fuck can you be a centrist and be extreme and radical?
The extreme alt-centrism is very much a meme. No one actually calls them.
Exactly. It's sort of like a Meninist type thing.
Yeah.
It's interesting though, because I saw Spino and the Outspoken Realist. I'm like, but they're not centrist. Well, Spino used to be. I remember him saying that.
I don't think either of them. I don't think either of them really are centrists. But in terms of, because they are leftist tribalists. They care more about their side than about policy. And the same thing I was trying to get across to Kevin Logan. He calls Sargon a right-winger because Sargon spends most of his criticism time criticizing the left. The thing is that that's only relevant if you're measuring someone's political affiliation by their tribal allegiance rather than by their actual policies. And I don't care at all about the tribal allegiance. I only care about the policies. So by the policies, Sargon is left-wing, fairly close to center, but left-wing. Similarly to myself.
Or me.
But I think Spino and co are the type who are tribally on the left and probably do care more about tribal allegiance in terms of what side you're on than in terms of policy.
You know what's ironic? We're the tribalists.
Well,
we're the ones who have the
they're the
genders. We're the tribalists.
They're the anti-tribalist tribe, you see.
The anti-tribalist, the anti-SJW, anti-tribalist coalition. Hey, that's a good political party. The anti-SJW, anti-tribalist coalition. I'm stealing that. That's mine. I'm trademarking that.
Yep, that's yours. I will. Yes.
I need to write that down. Oh shit! I got
you have it here. Just cut it off when you get to.
Anti-SJ. I'm writing this down in the chat, people. Anti-SJ, anti-SJW.
As an archaeologist, this has been my small archaeology type boring rant. They talk about culture and tribalism, and that culture, just so everyone knows, is defined in archaeology as it should be, as everything that you learn and can be transmitted to your offspring. Right? Think about everything that can be transmitted to your offspring. That is culture. It's not exclusive to humans, by the way, or primates even, because there are these weird, nice, really intelligent parrots in New Zealand, much more intelligent than Mikey. Mikey, what's his name? And Gareth, right? These parrots are more intelligent than those two.
Rollins and
Gareth. Yeah, these parrots are more intelligent than those two. They actually teach their offspring how to fucking steal shit. So,
well, I don't know if Garrett has kids, and I don't know if Michael has kids either. But I know that. Wait, does Tim have kids? No, Tim doesn't have kids. Does he?
He's just got married. But that's not the point I'm making. I'm saying that culture is not what they think it is.
No, yeah.
Culture is everything you teach to your offspring. So after that, you can shrink it down to fucking wearing the same sneakers. That is your culture. A group of people wearing the same sneakers and probably know each other, they can identify as that culture. So that's settled, right? Tribalism is the same type of thing, just really another word for the culture.
The thing is, what I find funny is that they scoff at the idea that they're tribalists. No, we can't possibly be the tribalists. We're attacking this one group and completely ignoring this other group. Therefore, we're not tribalists.
Yeah, we share the same, exact the same beliefs, or we say the same shit, but we're not tribalists. They are the ones that are attacking us, which have vastly different ideas between them. They only share that the only thing that they are, you can call them tribalists, that they are possibly skeptical. They question stuff.
They've adopted some of the things that the SJWs do, which is they assign a label to you, and then that's what you are. If you say a certain thing, you must be a rationalist skeptic. Trademark. And then that is, you are now marked as an enemy, and it's like, I don't believe that exists.
It was pretty funny when I was talking to Kevin, and he was like, Sargon, who goes around calling himself a skeptic. And I was like, when did he do that? And Kevin clearly had never even thought of the possibility that anyone that gets called a skeptic, a community member or whatever, doesn't actually think of themselves that way. I don't like that term. Not necessarily because of the community part of it. I think that's fairly accurate if you interpret the word properly, but because of the skeptic part, because it makes it sound too self-congratulatory. Not as if skepticism is the goal, but like that's what's been achieved. I wouldn't want to use that just because of that ambiguity.
He's called himself a rationalist, hasn't he? He's got that.
He's used the word rationalist, but I don't think he was using it self-congratulatorily. But I wouldn't. I still wouldn't do the same thing. But yeah, I think you got to take into account the context there.
Like I remember, I think it was SJW 101. He said that, what, you're part of the skeptic community? I was like, no, I'm not. I don't think it exists. How can I be against something or for something that I don't think exists?
Exactly. There's no community, but I am a skeptic. I'm a person. This is a dictionary term. I just looked it up. The first one that appeared on Google. A person inclined to question or doubt accepted opinions. That is the key word. It's accepted opinions.
That's fine, but I think there's an implication that if you call yourself a skeptic, you are doing skepticism successfully. And I think there's a danger.
I do. I question all opinions.
Yeah, but do you know you do?
Oh yes, I do. I do.
The truly skeptical position, fucking no.
Really, I question all opinions.
Truly
Even
skeptical position would be to not assume you're doing skepticism properly. Would be to just be a person with opinions and to just look at everything
no,
individually.
but I can factually be skeptical of opinions.
Yeah, but do you all the time? Do you every time you should? Every time you should.
Of course, I'm human.
Okay, that's what I mean.
That's a caveat. Yeah, exactly.
We should strive to do skepticism properly. We shouldn't call ourselves
No. We shouldn't. We can't be robots. We have to be.
We have to be robots. I'm not saying it's achievable. I'm not saying it's achievable.
Yeah. I agree with you completely. Yeah, but shit, we're humans. We are fucking flawed. I know my flaws. I know totally my flaws. I've fallen for my own arrogance in the past, where I normally, for example, some thing that goes on virally on Twitter, I look at it, I usually retweet it, but then if it looks too good, I've fallen for that and believed it when it became false. Fallen for that a few times, because shit, I'm human. I make mistakes and I admit them. I go back and correct myself. It's when you don't correct yourself that's the problem, and that's when you're not really a skeptic.
I'm not trying to criticize anyone in particular, and I'm not saying that you don't match that definition either. I think everyone does. Even the other side, even the SW types, they try to be skeptical, and so do we. We try to be skeptical, in the sense of aiming for that, having skepticism as a goal. Yes, we are skeptics, but my problem is not with the literal meaning. My problem is with the ambiguous interpretation that's inevitable. If people hear people saying, "I am a skeptic," they're going to interpret that as self-congratulatory. And what's more, people in the group who consider the people that they look up to be skeptics are going to think, we have achieved it, therefore we are the skeptical side, therefore we're more likely to be right, therefore we shouldn't really listen to what other people have to say, or we should believe ourselves unduly. So I don't really want that to happen. But I mean, I don't mind. I'm not trying to tell people what they can and can't say. I just don't call myself a skeptic. But I do think there is a community. I do think there are several spheres that overlap. But only if you take community in a very broad sense. It's obviously not a commune.
No, exactly. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I agree. Totally. No, nothing. What you said is perfectly reasonable. Yes. Yep.
Oh yeah. Somebody called Oprah Vacon said that you're a bad influence on me. Usually, you're such a bad influence.
True.
You make me meme more than I usually do. I have to admit.
That doesn't sound too bad to me.
I mean, I wish I was there for the Angry Napoleon thing. I think I fell asleep to do it, and then it was. I missed it. I know someone recorded it. It hasn't released it. I want to see the moment the meme was born. Yeah, apparently it was. They have a soundboard, don't they? And they were playing it back to him.
They didn't record the actual event though, did they? Are you talking about the raid with Crowd and I? With the
I missed it. God damn it.
Yeah.
Me too.
Has he been up to anything? Has he weighed in on any of the things that has been happening recently, or has he been quiet?
My interpretation, he was a bit, similar to how he was with Trump, but on the other side when Le Pen lost. But my interpretation of his activities over the last few months has just been day 255, autistic screeching. Day 256, autistic screeching. Basically the same thing over and over again.
But in French autistic screeching.
Napoleon's greatest value is as a meme, and
Brazilian.
It also happens to be his only value.
It's very true.
He started on me. That guy started on me when I was in the Devon Tracy group. He started on me. He started calling me, "You fucking Portuguese cunt! You killed 85 million people." And then I said in the Amazon. Then I said, "No, you're wrong. No, it's 60 million." And I said, "No, you're wrong." And that's how I got to know him. And I just muted him. I don't block anyone except one, but I won't say who it is. There's only one person I have blocked in my block list. He's a special case. But anyway, yeah. But Napoleon and that Spanish guy. What's his name? Shit. Alexander something, Burrow something. They are autistic. God damn, they are fucking morons. I once had a.
Go on.
Go on, Mitch. I was just saying with Alexander. I once had a logical. I set him up in a logical trap that he just blew his brains away. It went on for 2 days, and then I was, oh fuck it. I muted him as well because I was getting fucking sick. He couldn't get it. It's in my Twitter thing. I love that exchange.
I just like the weird situation that people like Angry Napoleon find themselves in. They're not SJWs, but they are. Or at least they have the same mindset or the same kind of beliefs, but they're not.
Angry Napoleon's much more similar to Antifa than he is to an SJW, and I think he is Antifa as well, which is not surprising.
No.
He's a liar as well.
Right winger.
No.
When I first started off knowing him, he was a biology student or something. Then he went to chemistry. Then he went to scientist. In his bio, he changed his bio regularly when he changed his.
Can you let me finish? Yeah. Is that his bio? Can you let me finish?
Yeah, well, I think he says he lives in Switzerland. I think he's a gardener in Switzerland. That's where he gets his biology, chemistry, and all that shit from.
No. Can you let me finish?
Oh God.
I love that. No. Can you let me finish? I love the anal sex. That's my favorite thing. They can't say that.
I have never heard.
What was the worst thing he said? Oh, the worst thing he said was like with his cousin. Like, didn't they touch each other in a weird way, and he liked it?
There's a risk.
Lena Dunham.
That quote exists, but there's a risk of taking it out of context. So I don't know exactly what happened there.
Yeah.
But is that where the laughter comes from? Taking it out of context?
Possibly.
I just laughed when I heard somebody say that to me. I was like, oh my God, he didn't say that, did he? It's a soundboard, isn't it? It was on the soundboard and they were playing it back to him and he got really triggered. Would you ever raid someone again, Oozly? Would you ever raid someone? Is there someone right now who you'd raid?
Yeah, I'd raid streams, no doubt. I mean, fire up the fucking Ramstein, I'm ready. But Discord raids, which I have never done before, are not allowed anymore, unfortunately, on Discord. And Discord will delete my server if I do them for the first time. But that was a lot of fun. When we didn't do Discord raids, it was a lot of fun.
But when you who would you raid? Whose stream would you raid if you had the chance?
I don't know. I don't. I mean, I don't really have anyone around like Napoleon. Actually, there's some people on Twitter who are part of the like Skeptic Justice Warrior cabal, where they, basically all they have to say to me is, "Why don't you talk about Trump more?" Like that's 95% of the criticism they make against me, and the rest of it is misrepresentation, and even most of that's misrepresentation. So
I just say to them, I'm British.
Well, no, I did advocate for Trump, so they have something like the beginnings of a point. But some of these people are. It's not that they're unbearable. It's just I can't bear to think that humans exist that are like this. If they were doing a stream and I came across the link to it, I would probably put it on something cancerous. Like
I would love to raid Steve Shive's Chrissy Winters stream, honestly.
Oh yes.
God. That is my ultimate fantasy.
But the thing is, we'll get kicked so quickly. We kicked immediately. There's no way we could like somehow stay in there for more than a minute.
I know. I'm just saying, shit. If I had superpowers, which I can control his stream, their stream, and get in there, and they couldn't kick me out, I would fucking crack up. I would actually try reasoned discourse with them. I wouldn't do the crazy shit. I would actually try and actually reason with them.
You can't reason with them.
Yeah, I know you can't. But
that's the point.
I can try.
You can demonstrate that they're incapable of doing it. Like when I first talked to Steve Shives on Twitter, before I was blocked amazingly, even though I was following all the wrong people. I've told this story before, but I started talking to him, and he was talking to someone else and exclaiming some of his beliefs, some of the basic feminist beliefs. And I said something along the lines of, "Hey, could you show me evidence for this?" But I did it extremely politely, like as politely as you can imagine. And it went on for a few tweets. There's a string somewhere about 12 or 15 tweets back and forth, and I maintain extreme politeness the whole way through, literally as polite as you could imagine. And then eventually I say, I ask again for something else. Could you show me evidence for this? And he says, I have a better idea. Seconds later, I'm blocked. So that's what happens when you actually try to have a reasonable conversation with them. It doesn't matter how reasonable you are. It doesn't matter how much of a harasser or abuser you are. None of that matters. That proved, without a shadow of a doubt, that Steve Shive's block wall is just to maintain his own feelings. It has nothing to do with the quality of the people on the other side.
That happened to me the first time when I first joined Twitter in 2015, November more or less. The first people I started looking for were anti-Christians and anti-religious type thing. PZ Maya. Everyone knows PZ Maya.
Well, a startling less amount of people are beginning to remember him.
Yeah, exactly. He's becoming so irrelevant that, but yeah, I posed the most innocuous, like I said, innocuous question. I know what I answered. Professor, I humbly disagree with you. That is the exact words I wrote. Block. Something to do with feminism or shit.
Yeah,
those were my words. Professor, I humbly disagree with you.
No, anyone who has anything to do with Rational Wiki, that's what.
Holy shit! Where did you come from? I thought...
the kid has to yourself with I don't even know what show. I think it's like Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends or whatever. So there's no breaking her out of it, and I can't come up with another annoying nickname quite yet. So
go on, nickname.
I was calling her Big Money. Yeah,
that scared me as well. I thought.
I was calling my daughter Big Money all day yesterday, and she was just like, it's hilarious. I bring her out for a walk, and I'm like, "Hey, Big Money, we going swimming?" Like, I'm not Big Money. And I started introducing just like passersby. I'm like, "Hey, everybody, I want you to meet this Big Money." And then she figured out that the only reason I kept doing it is because it was pissing her off. So now I got to come up with a new one.
Teaching her how to be based. I'm so proud.
Exactly. Develop
so
a really thick skin.
Wizard, have you seen Kraut's video yet?
Oh, I thought you were going to tell me that that's some kind of weird fidget spinner thing of yours there.
Oh, no, it's the same H1.
No, I saw it last night. Actually, like, he sent me a preview of it before he put it live.
Did you like it? Did you hate it? Do you love it? Forever, to quote Anthony Fantano.
I mean, yeah, for one thing, it's an hour-long video, and he's got a lot that he jams in there. I had a few criticisms. Frankly, I don't really go in for the guilt by association trip.
Yeah, I agree.
That's not something and everything I say, I've said to him directly, just to clarify, so this isn't telling tales out of school. No, I think, I think that him condemning like the shitty people who are doing the shitty things, that's one thing. But this guilt by association thing's just not something I can really get behind myself.
Yeah, I noticed a little thing about that now that I think about it, and I don't think I would have done that. But what's done is done, right?
In the end of his video, he in his own version of the thing almost came out and said that sort of imbecilic hardline shit we constantly chide the other side for. This I will not waste my time or associate with, etc., etc. And I don't know. I understand Kraut's anger about the thing and all of that, but I think by and large, I think he was a little more heavy-handed than he really needed to be, and I think there was a lot more, let's say there was more emotion than reason to a lot of it.
It sounds like you and I have very similar criticisms. I named some of the same things near the beginning of the stream.
I'm kind of on the fence about that. Go on, Nick.
I just found it funny because when he showed me the video and I finished it, and he's like, "So what did you think?" And I offered him my honest criticisms, and his response was, "Oh, thank God, finally some honest and negative criticism." Like, well, what else do you expect, and who else are you seeking it from? But,
I did get a preview copy, but I wasn't around at the time, unfortunately. I would have given him the criticism otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, it was still. I mean, I took care of everything after like the kiddo went to bed, and so first I had a quick stream with Friended, who
Oh yeah,
a nice guy, interesting guy.
he's one of my meme friends. We meme a lot together.
Yeah, no, he's a chill dude. He needs to get comfortable in his own YouTube skin though. Like we were talking a bunch about like what he hopes for YouTube, and he was talking about, oh, you know, this and that, and fucking you know, and I've been thinking maybe taking it this way and that way. It's like, dude, just do your thing, and you know, your audience will come to you as they will. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, exactly. Find something. Go on.
Yeah, well, I was just gonna say that after that, that's when I went ahead and, you know, streaming with, you know, I chatted with Crowd a bit, and I watched his video end to end, and yeah, I mean, I came away from it. I'm like, okay, you know, I can see where you're going. I see why you're doing this, and also, if you know Crowd personally at all, you also know that he's an emotional guy. He can be, and it's this, you know, it's this rah battle and conflict shit. I mean, frankly, outside of the people who did like the nasty doxing shit and calling out hypocrisy, such as that with like Woolly Bumblebee, you know, I mean, even like, you know, I mean, like highlighting Bronx Blogger being the piece of shit that is, it's, you know, it does kind of come back to how worth the time are these people, you know, and how universally guilty can they be for the actions of others? Because frankly, I mean, I can't really, outside of the failure to call them out thing, right? Which to my memory, the time I heard that the most was usually during Gamergate from the feminists screaming about how, oh, you don't call out all this bad behavior and this bullying and harassment and all that other nonsense. But I mean, to see like Coherent states, she's not even a YouTuber. She's just some chick on Twitter with a very, very marginal following, ultimately irrelevant. And then probably people with like slightly higher follower counts who've done more nasty shit. And I don't know. I think it was a bit heavy-handed. I think it was coming from a place of emotion more than reason. And I think it's kind of unfortunate too, given the timing, especially that I mean, if you're on the one hand, if you're like me and you're actually looking forward to more discussions, right? Like Lacey Green coming out and saying she's open to talking to people. Or if you're of a different mind, let's say, and you're enjoying watching the train wreck and meltdown of people like Steve Shives because others are willing to do what he's too afraid to do. The timing of this basically throwing down what is in many ways an identical gauntlet. It's, I don't know. I mean, you know, the Crowd's going to do Crowd, and I'm not going to like fucking.
I'd like to say something. I think like, I think you might need to put your headphones in.
Are you getting an echo?
Yeah.
I'll just turn the gain down.
Anyway, so like the way I see it, I'm kind of on the fence with the whole. I'm not going to associate with these people because I see where he's coming from, because they're not, one, they're not trustworthy. Two, that's what they're capable of. And I think if it's only like a small section of that whole community anyway that he was talking about. It wasn't the whole mass of people, not all SJWs. I don't mean to do a not all, but it is. They're only a small section. We kind of forget that because we're humans, we're a bit short-sighted. So see him not wanting to associate with them. And I think I understand that, because when they've shown, apart from a few instances of not willing to associate with us or to talk to us, and instead just resort to these tactics, you can see why I do that. I personally don't know if I would not associate with them, but I think the way that Spino and the others that he criticized for associating with them, I agree with that. You can't have a positive association with people like them. And you can't. I know that you should attempt to reason, but there comes a point when you've done it so many times and they just don't want it, that you have to just stop. And then with the Gamergate thing, there actually was a thing within Gamergate where they would actually police themselves. It was like one of the operations they had, and they would just sort out trolls and idiots, and they did that quite a few times. I think at one point, one of the literally who's had somebody giving them grief, and a lot of Gamergaters sort that person out, I think. So I don't think it's bad timing necessarily, but it's certainly interesting timing. But I don't think that's going to stop Lacey Green or anybody else from talking to Lacey. I don't think that would impact her greatly, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
and he didn't actually mention her, so I think
no, he didn't. He's got. He's got a
done.
video, and he has, and I asked him about that, and he's got a video on that matter coming separately. I know, and maybe it is just a matter of the fact that, like, despite this shit, right? I personally I consider Spino a friend. I think he's been, I think he's been acting like an absolute retard in many respects, but then also I have to remember that he's a young dude, and that also, and I'm not going to go into detail for a number of reasons, but I can say that when it comes to that sort of, that group that the crowd was discussing in respects to when people started thinking, oh, we'll reach out to the social justice scene, right? Now, I was part of that, and I was against that as well. In fact, as usual with things that I get involved in, the only times things went wrong is when people just failed to listen to me. But within all of that, the root, what actually got all of that particular thing started is something that he didn't even address, and it's also the kind of thing that, if you considered it in context, you would understand why it is that a 19-year-old man in a situation like his would end up taking the actions that he took. Not agreeing with them, but it's, again, I think ultimately really just comes back to, Kraut was speaking honestly from an emotional place largely. He's rightly disgusted with a lot of behavior. Frankly, even when people who who I'm friendly with or respect on my own, when I see them like retweeting people like Bronx Blogger, who is, he's a flat out piece of shit. There's very little in the way of redeeming qualities I can find about that particular cretin. But with even that, when I see somebody I respect retweeting them, or vice versa, when I see people unironically tweeting Richard Spencer bullshit, it's kind of, in my mind, it's a mark on their character a little bit, but it's not something that I'd see a need to take to any sort of extreme.
Yeah, like I cringe about as much. No, I cringe equally to both social justice shit and alt-right shit. Like yesterday, I was on Twitter and I saw this stupid meme. It's one of those memes that aren't quite memes. They're like serious, but not a joke. It was like, who are the real people of color? So it's got like white people on the left, people who aren't white on the right, and all these colored people, brown, various shades of brown and stuff. And the white people have green eyes, blue eyes, blonde hair. You do know that Arabs can be ginger and have green eyes and blue eyes, and black people can have blue eyes. And humans can have different eyes naturally, right? Despite race.
There's no races in humans. Stop using that word.
I know,
but
humans. I can't stop it. It's for the sake of argument, mate.
Okay, I'll accept that. Okay. I'm sorry. I get triggered by that fucking word.
We should just.
I know you do. And it's like I can't get out the habit. I can't.
No. I'm sorry. I couldn't resist, man. Go on. You're perfectly right.
You couldn't resist, could you? Well, I'm looking at it and I'm cringing so hard, and I thought, should I respond to this? But I just thought it's not worth it. It debunks itself when you think about it for about 2 minutes.
That's too long.
The fact that so many imbeciles are out there speaking, and on these days, really, I can't really think of too many, public figures in any real respect whose intellects I respect outside of some people I know personally. Because let's look at let's consider media in general. Old media is going down the shitter. this new media is coming up, and it's already shaping up to be not much better, to be honest. You criticize someone like Paul Joseph Watson or Rebel Media, or alternately Young Turks, or all these Vice bloggers, and their defenders come out saying, "Oh, well, what about the old media?" It's like, well, that's just as bad. In fact, it's terrible in its own rights, in its own special ways, many ways. But that doesn't take away from the fact that the modern media is ultimately being headed up by a bunch of retards, and it shouldn't be any surprise then, when you look at the prominent figures and speakers within given movements. I mean, I stand by the conviction that letting Richard Spencer speak publicly is the best thing you can do to fight against his agenda, because he's a fucking moron. It's through and through. He's a hopeless moron. He compares his fledgling movement to that of the beginning of communism in Europe. Sorry, Dick. I can think of a few better analogies you might want to go with. Oh, I'm going to have a rally in the South in defense of Confederate statues, which is even a topic like I'm kind of like I can go either way on that one. But what do? You get a bunch of country club fuckers together, and they're going to hold torches like there's not any associated symbolism with that. Fucking retard. And then
I'm surprised that they have statues of that. They lost.
Like name a praised feminist intellectual these days, and you're going to find yourself just basically a version of Big Red who's in the middle of menopause.
Don't forget the fact that Spencer recently started talking about globalist forms of the alt-right because Le Pen lost.
Yeah, no.
Globalist skill.
People are unironically picking up Alex Jones' talking points right now and walking around as though, it's some sort of sign of a sterling intellect. I mean, I'm sorry. No, if these are the kinds of people the people are going to be looking to, the future is very dark.
It is.
I mean, to be fair though, Alex Jones didn't go far enough with the frogs turning gay thing. They're actually turning them into women.
Shit, I've been trying to push that we need to accelerate global warming, and it's fucking not working.
I just want to see him just go on.
No, I was just going to say, honest. I've engaged with one of the founders of Greenpeace, for fuck's sake. He answered my ironic tweet because I know all of the science, and I'm just trolling them that we need to accelerate global warming, embrace it. And I say that it's going to flood the rich people's homes in Florida, for fuck's sake. And this guy, one of the co-founders from Greenpeace, answered me, and I go, "What the fuck?"
Well, this is, it's another interesting thing I find though too, is that I mean, you can find this most pressingly with the hardcore Trump supporters, but you find them with almost anyone really. Is that when they do something or say something that is incredibly stupid, just mind-bogglingly stupid, right? Their defenders come around. Oh, that's 4D chess they're playing. Oh no, this is just some hyper intellectual plan of theirs that none of us are wise enough to understand. I'm sorry. I mean, maybe take down that random patch of of whatever dust mite you pinned to your shrine of Donald Trump, thinking it was a lock of his hair and it gave you power. Just pause for a moment and consider that perhaps the people who you look up to. And this is a big reason I can't find really anyone alive these days worth looking up to. But consider that the people you look up to might, in fact, not be as smart as you really hope they do. As you really hope they are in the course of your justifying their endless string of retarded statements.
I do like that.
Yeah,
go on.
I still have Lewis and Richard Leakey as my heroes, so they are still rational.
Same. We're missing a Hitchens or George Carlin. There's just nobody in comedy who can analyze this and bloody just give us that commentary that we desire.
No.
I mean, I guess there's YouTubers doing it, but they don't have the reach. You're not going to see them on TV. And the one person who could do it, Filthy Frank, is not interested because he's apolitical.
Yeah, no, he just entertains, preteens. That's what he does.
And what? Adults like me.
It's the thing. We inhabit a very small, little. Basically, it's like a little atoll, in the grand ocean of YouTube, and lots of people. And I was joking about Bering last night, saying that we're all just wading through an ocean of shit while people like Bering grab up bits of it to point out the little bits of corn. And look at this corn. Isn't this corn fucking hilarious? Cunt. And,
it's horse cancer.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, he jumped in the stream after. He's like, I bring smiles. I'm like, okay, that's fair. Yeah. While we all have to wade through this ocean of shit, you stop and crack clever jokes about the shit we're surrounded by so that we maybe feel a little bit better about it. Is that fair? He's like, okay, yeah. But this is, like this, the most, even actually when it comes to like discussions about politics and the like, right? You take the smartest voices and, it oftentimes they're overshadowed by the loudest voices, as always happens. And in the course of that, it's like we end up getting into these we end up getting, you find entire sides building up with people having massive arguments about inane or innocuous shit that one or more people said in disagreement with each other, as though any of that has any relevant bearing on what's to come, on what we should expect in the future, on what, if anything, we could actually say or do to change it.
Yep.
Rags is in the chat. He asks, "Who am I?" Well, who are you? Who's this Doge that has just randomly appeared in my chat? Who are you?
Is anyone here familiar with the film Barfly?
I've heard of it.
Really,
like many films, I've heard of them but never watched them.
Oh, it's Mickey Rourke playing Charles Bukowski. Yeah, it's just
Yes, I saw that movie.
Yeah, it was like him and Faye Dunaway way back in the day.
Yeah, yes. I was trying to think of who the actress was. Yes.
Hey, who are you? The eternal question and the eternal answer. I don't know. I always just love that film. I always love that scene.
Shit, I became a bit disillusioned with the Mickey Rourke. He could have been the what's his name? Shit. Streetcar Named Desire actor. I'm shit at names.
Few of them.
Huh?
I think over the life of the play, there's been a few of them.
I mean the actual film.
Oh, I actually, shamefully, I can't think of a single actor from that film.
Okay, god damn it. Apocalypse Now, the colonel that Martin Sheen goes to kill.
Oh, you mean Marlon Brando?
Yeah, Marlon Brando. Thank you. God damn it, I'm shit at names. I get a mental block at names, but I know who the people are. When in those films in Barfly, or whatever, I thought of him as a Marlon Brando, almost Marlon Brando. He was fucking good.
Oh, who?
And
Mickey
then
Rourke.
Yeah, Mickey Rourke. Yeah, he was good. But then
yeah.
he sort of, after 9.5 weeks, he sort of went downhill a bit.
Yeah, well, I mean, then he got old, and as he got old, he just got a fuck ton of like really bad plastic surgery, and
exactly.
No, I mean, the first movie I ever saw him in was Bullet with Tupac. He's really good now.
Yeah,
Tupac was in a film.
Tupac had actually, before he got killed, Tupac had he was a decent actor too. And
really?
Yeah, no, he had. There's two films that spring to mind. There was Bullet with Mickey Rourke and Adrian Brody, and it even had I always forget the guy's name, but he's the guy who played Buffalo Bill in Silence of the Lambs.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, there was, and that was kind of a smaller one, and that was a New York crime film. And then there was another one where he played a cop opposite Jim Belushi. Can't remember. That wasn't Clockers, I don't think.
With Jim Belushi, God,
Tupac,
cop.
Jim Belushi. Yeah, and he was, honestly, Tupac was he was a pretty good actor. Especially like for this whole like I'm jumping from rap to this other medium, like DMX tried it, and let's just pretend that didn't happen for all of our sakes. But or 50 Cent with his action extravaganzas with Cuba Gooding.
Oh yeah. Actually, didn't he want to do method acting? And like he lost a load of weight and 50 Cent.
I wouldn't be surprised. No, I'm just saying. No, these days what he does is he will he'll fund a terrible, straight to cable, straight to Netflix, like action suspense crap movie. He'll fund it for like $2 million because he knows he'll make that money back and then some. And so he puts these movies out periodically. it's basically why he doesn't really do much else anymore. He just does that.
Yeah, doesn't even rap anymore. I mean, even Snoop Dogg just has cameos.
Yep.
So, like, I was wondering, like, how's VidCon? You managing to go to VidCon, right?
No, that's next month.
Yeah, no, yeah, you're going, aren't you? I saw that.
Yeah.
I didn't even know you had like a thing, like a campaign.
well,
I would have donated if I'd known.
I put the campaign, and if you're interested, I am still accepting pizza, taco, and beer money. But no, I put the campaign together after I was talking with Jeff because he really wanted us to do a Saints episode out there because we're gonna have like Chris Reagan. I think Sargon might be going. I believe Dave Cullen's going. We know the Warskis are gonna be there, and we're thinking of having just basically a big live YouTube Saints sort of special from from the hotel in the midst of effectively a party. So that'll be fun.
No, I'm jealous. I don't have my passport.
Well, I was
Ah.
well, a couple. What was it? A couple months ago. I was at a point where I could have begun saving and could have made it happen, but then two of my columns evaporated. They ended basically. My vehicles both broke, so I couldn't make it to the day job. And so ultimately, YouTube and this one other writing contract I have has been that's my income. And it's cool, but it doesn't really leave much in the way of, being able to save up for things or save any money. And so Jeff was like, yeah, and you know what? Take half of the Saints revenue and put that fucking campaign together and we'll get it done. 6 days. And like after 6 days, I was asking for $12.50 because it'll cover, the flight and the travel expenses and incidentals. And I was at $3.50. No, it was at I was at $3.50, and then someone threw in another $100, and someone just came through and like what was it? Actually, wait, no, sorry, $12.50. Yeah, I was at $3.50, and then someone came through and just dropped $900 in there anonymously, asking not to be named because it's not really good in the land of e-beggars to be known as a man with coin. But yeah, and I was just like, well, holy fuck, I guess this is happening now. So that'll be a good fun time.
Yeah. I'm gonna like see if I can find your campaign and donate some beer money. Have you managed to get your super chats yet? My $4 of super chat.
What do you mean?
I was worried about doing the second one. Do you remember that when I got you to tell AJ to subscribe to me? Do you remember?
Yeah. Yep.
Have you got the money yet?
From my stream?
Yeah.
Oh,
has it shown up yet? Yeah.
No, it gets paid out with the AdSense payout.
Oh yeah, it does. Yeah. I was like, am I pushing it? But I thought it'll get her to do something because she was just in the background there being funny in a weird way. So I thought let's get her being funny in an active way.
Yeah, no, actually, it was funny. Bronx Blogger recently. What was it?
Oh, he did. Yeah, he donated $1 to me.
Oh well, that fucker. So I did my video about the red pill and sort of what I see as the beginning of the fall of feminism. And he came into the comments and he left a comment saying, "Oh, the only difference between you and Roosh V is you say this stuff with an accent like Ian McKellen." Okay. So I responded saying, "The only difference between you and Sarah Nyberg is Sarah Nyberg doesn't pretend to be a cop on the fucking internet. Now, how about you chop your dick off, shave that Taliban goatee of yours, and celebrate for being ahead of the curve for the first time in your life?" He didn't really care for that.
Because he doesn't. He can't dish it. He can't take it. Yeah. But he can dish it out.
Well, then he started saying like, "Oh, well, who's that that preteen that you keep molesting on your streams and this and that?" And I'm like, AJ. And then I was on his stream the other night, and Bronx was in the chat, and I'm like, "Oh, by the way, everyone, especially Bronx Blogger, if you care to wish AJ a belated happy 24th birthday, that'd be great. How you doing, buddy?" This hormone treatment's working out for you? Oh, sorry, I mistook you for another crackpot.
Yeah, he's annoying. He's been really interested in me recently. Have I really broken in that much? Because all I did was troll him a few times, and next thing I know, he's being racist and being weird. And I'm like,
Oh, he
What the hell?
he really is a despicable cunt. I mean,
He is.
yeah. Outside of the people who actually do like the doxing and the threats and the extortions and shit like that, Bronx is one of the saddest individuals I can think of. I mean, it's one thing if you're like Christy Winters, right, and you get a doctorate, and after all of that schooling, you spend as much time as you do worrying about who is talking to who on the internet and what a cartoon bear is saying, right? But I mean, Bronx isn't even that. Bronx has to pretend that he's got, some kind of personal validity that extends beyond just him being like a shit talking nobody mall cop.
I feel like he's that guy, in the films in high school when the bully's beating someone up or chatting shit. He's like, yeah, go on. He's like that. He's that kid, isn't he?
Probably. Well,
If you know what I mean.
No, he's probably the guy who didn't do
The one who
goddamn
eggs people
thing
on.
where he got his ass. He probably
Yeah.
got picked on himself a whole bunch, and then he like wishes that he could go out and be a hero and stop bullying.
And that's why he decided to become Paul Blart Mall Cop, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's it's. I was having a conversation recently with fuck, I can't. I think it was actually yeah, I think it was with Friended, perhaps last night. And so we've got Lacey Green now who wants to have a conversation, and I welcome that, and I hope I have an opportunity to actually speak with her about some issues because I've spoken with her once before already, and nothing, not about any issues. It was just like a friendly conversation. Nice, very reasonable person. And
Who's this? I think you cut out a bit.
Oh, sorry, Lacey Green.
Oh, Lacey Green, right?
Yeah, I'd genuinely like to have a conversation about sort of the state of progressive politics and stuff with her. But when someone like that, you can't be, it's surprising because you didn't see it coming, but it can't be truly shocking that she's open to having a dialogue. If shy,
I'm weary. I'm a bit weary of her, but
why?
I'm gonna give her.
Why, what is there? What possible threat is there?
There's
in what way? Yeah, in what way could she possibly be a threat to anyone or anything?
Well, firstly, she's got a habit of creating these dramas. Have you seen what she did with the Amazing Atheist? Basically, he did a video. This is way back. Trust me, she's probably done more things than this. Way back when it was the atheist community, he did a video. He for whatever and person to stick with tits. And then she was like, "Oh, you're being a sexist, and this is really rude and horrible. You're an awful person, like just causing trouble with him for no real reason and defending a person who's actually a homophobe. Oh, was she racist? Oh God, what was she now? I can't remember. She was like some crazy fundamentalist Christian that he responded to. And she was attacking him, basically doing a normal insult that everybody does.
That's still, I'm still not seeing. Yeah,
and then let's not forget that she has a history of abusing DMCAs, and she hasn't apologized for that.
Okay, but
and she's denying it.
Okay, well, I mean, the question.
I'm open to it. I'm not saying that I don't.
There's no real risk. It's not like there are launch codes for nuclear memes that we have to keep protected at all costs, right? There's not like a security level clearance here. My point though is that you can't expect that sort of behavior out of Shives. Shives would never do that. Lacey can and is, and anyone really, I mean, like anyone who's who in good faith is willing to have a conversation, I'm willing to talk with them. Now, you can't expect that from Shives, but to be reflective as it was, those who oppose feminism and social justice, I mean, could you ever really expect a cantankerous toe rag like Angry MGTOW to, even within his own circles, let's say, have a reasonable conversation? No, because he's a fucking moron, and there's no getting around that. And so part of me, and it kind of comes back to the issue of Kraut's video too. It's one of these lines in the sand kind of things like that. If you're going to put a limit on the kind of behavior you'll accept from people, that's fine. But if the longer it's consistently and rigidly framed as a virtuous versus virtueless side of things, and that we're at war and we can't communicate or trust and all this shit, then it's just going to be continual inflammations of shit. It's going to be many times, unfortunately, shitty people becoming sort of thought leaders in a sense. And there's not really going to be any progress made, and nothing's going to change. And it's fun talking shit, but you know, hey,
that's not really my position on that. I'm willing to talk to her if she knows who I am. Like, you know, I'm willing to let her speak her piece and do, you know, talk to other people or talk to me, or it's all about the actions for me, really. At the end of the day, like with Imaos Chong, I was willing for him to you know, make he did make amends, actually, didn't he? He did apologize to people personally and in public for the things he'd done.
Sorry, who was that?
Imaos Chong, you know, at Still Grey, the journalist. And then he proved with his actions after that that you know, it was genuine. He's improved not just as a writer but as a person, in my opinion. Like, I mean, I don't know him, but from what I've seen on his Twitter and his work, and for me, it's just building trust.
Well, his public persona has changed, but I mean, I think one thing that people ought to remain aware and cognizant of, and it's something I was trying to mention in regards to Spinosaurus kin, is that I think another issue that comes up when you have things so rigidly framed in terms of like trench warfare, effectively, is that once somebody becomes sort of persona non grata within a given community on a given side, right? And this is what I think has happened to Spina. I think actually in general, this dynamic has been overinflated in terms of how people talk about it, but it does largely seem that once Spino sort of became persona non grata and was ejected from what was otherwise his.
Well,
hang on.
I would not say it was that. He did it himself. He ejected himself.
No. Listen, I'm not even remarking upon the virtues or values of what occurred. I'm simply saying in the course of events, right? When that occurred, there were, you know, vultures effectively circling, just, you know, like these, you know, these social justice sycophants with open arms who were like eager. They're like, oh, we can convert someone. And you see the same thing on this side. People like, I got to red pill them. I'm going to completely, you know, we got to red pill them to hell and back, and, you know, get them to really jump on this bandwagon. That's not everyone. That's, I'd say, more like the sort of the fan base side of things, who enjoy the drama, who enjoy the conflagrations. And as people kind of fail to recognize that dynamic, it really will come down. I mean, I would rather Lacey Green take issue with modern feminism because of the issues of modern feminism, as opposed to her taking issue with them because of the treatment she gets from certain feminists. You see what I'm saying?
I know what you mean. Yeah. But I don't know. Actions speak louder than words, you know. I mean, the video that she released, that's pointing in a direction where her actions are going to. Hopefully, I'm actually more positive than I am negative. You know, I do come across as a bit negative. I'm very much willing to give her a chance, and I think that video is pointing in the right direction. But she had a history of being very dishonest. Like, I remember when she did that video, was it on? Yeah, it was on rape statistics or something, and she showed this clip of this cop from Iowa, a county in Iowa, this really specific place where he's talking about rape kits, and then later on the percentages of what were proven to be true, what were proven to be false, and she tried to make it out like he was an apologist when he wasn't. I'm just thinking, you know, she could end up using the same tactics that she was doing then, and that, or maybe, what am I going to say now? It's just that she could. No, wait, now I've got it. Like, that dishonesty, she could well be just doing that with us, and just, it's for the money. We don't know, but again, I don't know. I'm willing to give her as much of a chance as possible, and there's someone in the chat would put her on the stream if I could, but she doesn't know me, and I don't know her, so, you know.
I mean, that's one of those things, though. I just think that when it comes, you know, when it comes back to it, I think, well, I mean, another point I came to recently, you know, I don't, my thing is, at least not with any regularity, I really don't intend on doing any more response videos, you know? Largely because, to me, I realize that like a response video ought to be the next step that comes after a conversation, right? After an attempt at a conversation. Like response videos to Steve Shives, for instance, is all we can do. It's all anyone can do. There's no talking with him.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think something that comes along with that, right, needs to be, remaining steadfast to the conviction that you're going to judge people on their speech, actions, and ideas, right? If that's the case, this notion of trusting or not trusting Lacey Green, it comes back to having a conversation in good faith. And really, I mean, if Andy Worski, for instance, he's willing, he actually wants to have a conversation with Francesca Ramsey, and he'll do it in good faith too. I mean, I doubt Andy's genuinely the kind of person who's just going to be trying to be like a ponage dickhead when he's actually got.
But what I want to know is, I know this is going to be a bit silly, but is he going to rap to her?
Oh, I hope so. I hope, in fact, like my dream scenario for it would be like the two of them actually have a conversation where they have genuine disagreements and they talk about them like adults who disagree on things.
And then the rap battle at the end.
Yeah, and then he ends it with like either a rap or a love song to her, and that like you can enjoy it in the mirthful spirit that it's being offered instead of seeing it as some kind of like coded jab.
I really like that image right now. Wouldn't that just be beautiful? But it'll be poetic.
Yeah, just her, like, I mean, genuinely just like, I mean, if you want to make her uncomfortable, right? Like, do so in that way, like when you're singing happy birthday to a shy person, that kind of thing.
That's actually really good.
Make her feel awkward and uncomfortable for you, not for herself.
You know what Bearing could do? Because I remember one of the first videos I ever saw, which I still think is one of his best. I don't know if it's still up, but did the video respond to Lacey, and then there's this weird sound she does that he kept looping over and over again in the video, like that's what it was like. It's like a sex noise or something. He should play that to her all the time on the soundboard in the stream. Like Warski singing. I don't know. Maybe that's different.
Speaking, then no.
Well, when she's not speaking, but like
no.
if it's dead air, just go.
No, look in the side channel.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, sorry.
He muted his mic.
Got to say something, Carlos? I can't hear you. Yeah, no, I can't hear him.
Try hitting F5.
Yeah. Try refreshing.
There you go.
So, what I mean by the soundboard thing is, I don't want him to interrupt it. Like, say if there's dead air, just go and make people laugh.
No, fuck that. Actually, just like use some Adobe Premiere action and some pixels over flesh colored movement, and just put like Andy's and her over each other, and there you go.
That'd be funny.
And if anybody out there wants to do it, I won't be doing it, so have fun.
Oh, Joe Mendes, dat. If you've seen that meme. Are you vaping?
Yeah, see, well, right here. All right, Strange Goat says Skeptic had a conversation with Francesca Ramsey. I think she said she was pleasantly surprised. That's part of the thing is like that's a funny thing is that Armored Skeptic is still considered part of the community, right? No one I can think of really likes the guy.
Well, I don't think there's a community, so
yeah, but
I don't know. Like, is he just?
Let's use like almost the sociological definition of such that it's a set of people who typically inhabit a similar space and abide by a similar set of understood rules. Fair?
Loose alliances, yeah. I think he's just a laughing stock, isn't he?
No, he is. That's the thing. And I mean, but it's funny because as much of a dishonest, just like intellectually dishonest and genuinely dishonest shitheel as he's proven he could be, he doesn't suffer half of what people from any manner of sides seem to get simply for entertaining ideas that are not status quo. And I mean,
I need to ask you a question about that though, about the dishonesty. Is it true that the whole bearing little kids thing came from him?
As far as anyone can really see, that seems to be, I mean, outside of what seems to be, because the common complaint, and I hear this and I'm constantly trying to hash it out with him, but Tim Demotivator, right?
Oh, you're never going to make him see reason.
No, hey, listen, I liked him. I do. I liked him fine. I chat with him from time to time. We exchange jabs and shit. He's got some silly ideas in his head and he's friends with some shitty people. But I mean, Tim as Tim, I liked him. But one of the central gripes when it comes to Bearing specifically is always that he's going after smaller channels and he's pwning them, this and that. And he's just doing it for laughs. And if he goes after smaller channels, that's fine. But I think that got conflated along the way. I don't know if Skeptic coined it or if he just picked it up. But it's the whole we going after 12-year-old shit. I say, well, I mean, all right, let's all take a look at our analytics and see what the average age range of our audience is, assuming that half of the people who signed up for accounts, maybe at 16 or 17, didn't say that they were in their 20s already. And yeah, let's like go over all of this, because if ultimately that's really where we're all gonna go, well then I guess we're all gonna have to start carding people when they hit the subscribe button, aren't we?
Like, hey, if you're too young, off to YouTube Kids app you go, where you can't even comment on things.
It's absurd. I mean, it's you know, and this whole, you know, honestly, like the whole Brangelina thing between he and Shu. Like, Shu makes some funny content, but not enough to the point where I understand why so many people routinely look to her. And then what I mean, Skeptic, he can't even. I mean, he's even previously said that he's here as an entertainer, right? Well, if that's the case, why try and present yourself as, like, intellectually upstanding and forthright? Why try and make the case that your perspective is intellectually worth listening to, when all you're trying to do is, quote, entertain? I mean, Bearing doesn't try and pretend that he's out there trying to, like, wake people up to anything or change minds about topics. So it's, again, I think it just comes back to this whole new media thing. This is, for one thing, people who are maybe not expecting celebrity, or people who, otherwise, when they gain it so fast typically, and in such a way that it's all online. They still, when they leave their house and they go down, to get coffee down at the cafe, or they go grocery shopping or whatever, I doubt that they're, like, necessarily mobbed by people, right? And it's a new kind of fame that I don't think really many, if any, are altogether used to or know how to handle.
Is it even possible to get used to it, because it can be so fleeting as well?
Yeah, it's it's all kinds of dumb, it's all kinds of really weird shit. It's a new environment, but I think that I think to a certain extent, because people have gone so long either being told that all the information that they're presented with at all times is fabricated and it's agenda driven, as well as having just endless sources of information to go to. I think that these entertainers and these infotainers, and this extends even to the science communicator channels, the I fucking love sciences and such, people just gravitate towards whatever validates their viewpoints. And I think just look at, like, the AIU fan base, and revolting. I mean, it was truly revolting, not just in terms of, like, how they'd make excuses for shitty actions, but also just that sycophantic nature. Like, if I ever find myself in the course of my YouTube career with people who unquestioningly, side with me in an argument, let's say, and they do so on the basis that they're part of some clique or cult that they gave a name to and all of that. Fuck, I mean, I might just have to go full internet aristocrat and nuke my fucking channel at that point. It's revolting, and it doesn't speak highly of the content you're putting out or the audience that you're pulling in.
So, Carlos, can you say something? Ah, he's still not working. Your mic's still not working, mate.
He has these problems a lot.
Yeah. That's what I get. And yeah, like, I know what you mean. Like, this new type of fame, the infotainers. I think this is the real issue. It is a case of, it's entertainment wrapped around information. So look, here we are. We're your news source, but we're going to entertain you. It makes you wonder: is there any difference between what we're doing and what Fox News is doing, what CNN is doing? Because that's infotainment. It has been since the 80s with the advent of 24-hour news.
Yeah, even before then with talk radio. I mean,
talk radio.
I don't know how that was over in England, over in the UK, but I know over here.
Well, we don't really have talk radio. I mean, it's hard to explain. I mean, there's the BBC. They're always going to be the biggest, more, and they can't really afford it. But I guess it would be more localized radio stations and
No, that's
pirate
what
radio.
No, that's what I mean. I mean, it was over here. It was a lot of AM channels, a lot of low band FM channels, and yeah, it was like, it was your Rush Limbaugh style talk radio.
Can you guys hear me now?
There you
Yes,
are.
we can hear now.
My laptop. Just to add what I was going to say, that bloody fucking my PC didn't say. Nick, you will never be like Devon Tracy, because Devon Tracy is a nihilistic prick.
And
So
how am I not that?
no, you're not nihilistic as much. Nowhere, Jesus, you're nowhere near as nihilistic as he is.
Well, you should see what some of the comments come through. Like,
Well,
no, I mean,
fuck
no,
the comments. I know what I see from
he was
you.
more prick than nihilistic. He was more like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't even call him nihilist, because he seemed to have an almost religious reverence for himself. I mean, after all, he would go into places like 4chan and he would comment on threads that were about him in third person.
But isn't that the definition of nihilism?
No.
Shit, I have the wrong dictionary. But anyway, he's an egotistical cunt then.
Wait, are you saying, did you mean to say narcissism?
No, yeah, that's the one. That's the one.
Okay,
Jesus,
yeah.
I sometimes mix the
No,
term. Sorry.
I'm pretty nihilistic. I mean, like, I wouldn't say I'm narcissistic. I'm certainly.
You're a cynic.
I can certainly be arrogant as all hell, but that's usually only because I find it funny.
We all are.
Yeah, why are we on here? Why are we on YouTube if we're not a little bit arrogant, a little bit attention seeky? But I think there's a difference between what hey, look at me, look at my opinions, to what he does.
He does. I am God, worship me. But let's not talk about him. He's irrelevant, honestly.
Yeah, he is irrelevant.
He's irrelevant.
We all know on YouTube who God really is.
Exactly.
Oh, he's harmful. Yeah.
Harmful opinions is God. Harmful opinions is God. Now, Patrick, about this.
Oh, he's fucking funny, man. I love him. I love him. He's cool.
Oh, yeah.
He did kind of go a little bit strange after, I guess understandably, after Sargon kind of threw him under the bus. I have really mixed feelings about all of that. There's some things that Harmful got wrong, some things Sargon got wrong. But I ultimately sided with Harmful over the Candid thing, because that was... How could you look at that and not at least research it? It's all out there in the public.
Well, I mean,
that's
right there, though. I think actually that whole matter. I mean, even context aside, even it's kind of the same sort of problem. There were people who sided with Harmful opinions, not because he made a great argument, but because they were fans of Harmful opinions. And likewise when Sargon weighed in, and I remember that video about, we should be supportive of our community, right? And I saw the merit in what he was saying, and I even found myself I'm like, yeah, there's a very sound, logical argument, and in many ways you're actually right, but at the same time, in many ways you're not. And if you were to talk with Harmful or Sargon, you'd get, they're definite in their positions, but they're not the kind of people who are incapable or would refuse to acknowledge a valid point that's made. But when you get down to the arguments within the fan bases, it largely seems that it depends on what their preferred presenter has to say.
Exactly. Yep. Why I'm not a fence sitter. I love the Twitter and YouTube dramas. Mundane Matt sort of tweeted something against TJ, and I tweeted back, "Shit, start the fucking drama. I want to be entertained." That was basically my tweet, because ultimately, Twitter dramas are fucking seriously. It must be my old age that I can't see the point in them.
I wish we had like hip hop style beefs on YouTube. That would be something.
Oh, that would be fucking awesome. I'd be right up there, man.
Yeah, just someone from California starts to beef with someone from
New York, or from the East
Coast. What's a coastal city? Dover?
Dover, yeah. Or Blackpool.
Yeah, so someone from like Blackpool starts beefing with someone from California.
Portsmouth?
It's like West Coast versus Old Coast.
Actually,
Exactly.
you know what would be funny? Manchester versus Manchester. Which one wins?
There's Manchester City and United. I'm a United
No,
fan.
no. I mean, my Manchester versus Nick's Manchester.
No. The moment I'm told, I'm actually
shit,
forced up in any way of representing or having anything more to do with this town than the fact that I live here. That's when I quit. Nope. That is not a characterization I care to. I care to play with.
Well, I plan to visit London in October, and I'm going to visit Oxford Street. I lived in Oxford Street for a hell of a long time in Victoria, in Melbourne. So, yeah, I'm gonna try and get that as a rivalry or some sort of shit.
There's an Oxford Road here in Manchester. That's where me and Miss Misa, Sick, who else was his wife, the very nearly viral Cog. I missed Big Dicko though. They turned up after I left because I had to work. I wanted to meet them. I wanted to meet those guys.
I'm so jealous of you guys. God damn it! I'm in the middle of bumfuck nowhere. I can't travel.
Oh,
it'll happen. Don't worry, mate.
Preaching to the choir here during Gamergate. I mean, for fuck's sake, there was the DC meetup, and I wanted to make it, but I had the kid, and I didn't have any travel money, and just loads of my friends are down there. I'm like, well, fuck. I mean, I'm kind of honestly like people like, are you looking forward to VidCon? Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to VidCon, and I'm going to cover the event. I'm going to get a lot of, I'm going to document a lot of it, and I'll probably end up writing a column about it / how whatever happens when I get to LA proper, because I'm not spending all goddamn day around a bunch of tweens who are just hoping to death that they can get a picture with Markiplier. It's not.
Is
really
Steve
the
Stripes going there
thing.
as VidCom as well? Steve
I
Stripes
hope so. No, I hope he has an information table with a red rope around it, because I did, part of my
do an Alex Jones, man. Someone has to do an Alex Jones on it.
I mean, if Greg and June go, right,
or them,
I do plan on, because I was gonna do the whole personal impersonation, but I'm actually kind of fond of my hair getting long now, so I'll probably just gonna find out what room he's in and call it and be like, Greg, listen, I know we've had our differences, but I'm down at the bar right now, and I'd really like to hash things out. I'm secretly your biggest fan.
Someone has to do an Alex Jones to Chen Hugo. That would break that. That would absolutely break the VidCom. It would be the.
I might try and make it next year. Sure, with
I mean, the thing is if I find the like if it ends up being like like the trade conventions I've been to in the past, which they can get pretty boring, honestly. Once you've made the rounds and collected all the free swag, which is like everyone's like, oh, you're gonna be bringing a bunch of equipment? Like, yeah, most of that's gonna stay in the hotel room. I'm probably gonna record shit on my phone and bring an extra large backpack so I can stuff it full of free shit. But yeah, I mean, if I start discovering that the whole thing has got like a sort of wretched social justice-y vibe that I'm not feeling, I will just go down a 6-pack of beer, eat like an extra large burrito, take a jog around the building, and then crop dust the ever-living shit out of the convention floor. I'm not above it.
Nick, don't drink the mineral water.
What? You know what I want to do? I want to go to next year's VidCon.
I hope you got that reference, man.
No.
I kind of...
the movie Cypher.
Movie what?
Cypher.
Oh, no. Sorry.
Oh man, that's a classic sci-fi type movie. It's what's her name? The one that appeared in Charlie's Angels, the Chinese chick.
Lucy Liu.
Lucy Liu, yeah, a Cypher, yeah.
Oh wait a second, no, X versus Cypher.
Just the film that I know in English. It's called what I have. It's Cypher. I can't remember the actor, but Lucy Liu is there.
Antonio Banderas, was it?
No. It's a company. This spy, he's a super master spy. He sells technology to rival companies. I'm gonna get spoilers here. So basically, oh shit! Heck, I'm gonna spoil the movie. It's quite good.
Well then,
I wouldn't do that.
Then I'm
chat
just
conversation.
look up Lucy Liu movie Cypher.
I'll take a look, but it does actually just remind me real quick. Are either of you familiar with the channel Internet Comment Etiquette with Eric?
Oh yeah, that's why I mentioned when you sort of talked about responding to someone that I know who you learned that from.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, that's why I was calling. That's why I was calling Quinn Big Money yesterday.
Yes, exactly. That channel's fucking awesome.
Oh yeah, no, he had this great one. It's like how to solve online racism. So he just found a bunch of white supremacist Facebook groups and stuff.
I saw that today.
Yeah, and he's like, so the best way I find to really shut them down after you use the solve it button, and he just shows the report feature, is to send them private messages full of spoilers. And he's like, I've got a nice big healthy list of movie spoilers here, you know. And he's like, download screenplays to movies that haven't come out yet, and then just send them nothing but spoilers.
That's why I stopped.
No, I want to do.
I have a habit of.
I want to go next.
Go on.
Go on. I was going to say I wanted to go to VidCon next year, and I'm gonna do the exact same thing as Nick does: get drunk, hang out with Filthy Frank and iDubbbz, like try and be a tag along and see if I can charm my way through.
Oh no, pictures. You learn like you just watch Chris Reagan's videos through and through, right? Put on a costume, and then just like end up getting police called on you when you won't stop insisting to them that you're actually him. Because
should I actually pretend to be Chris? I reckon I could be Chris Reagan.
I don't know that. Well, I mean, it'd be funny watching you try.
I could be Chris Reagan. I mean, I
what I'm looking forward to.
Hey guys, do you like memes? Do you like a memes?
Get glasses.
Yeah.
And a chair with wheels so you can just move along. Oh god. Yeah. Okay, I'm not funny. Sorry.
It'd be funny. I could just go around to different people. I'm Chris Reagan.
I might end up actually rooming with Mundane Matt just because he got like a double room, and I guess his roommate or buddy had to back out, so I might be taking advantage of that.
Oh, I forget I've met him as well.
Mundane Matt's quite calm. Yeah. So
hey guys, it's Mundane Matt.
Yeah, but he also knows where to get weed in LA. So.
Ooh, does he now?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
that's one bloody thing.
The thing is, too, is it's legal in California, and that'll be the first time I actually get to legally smoke marijuana in a state. I'm looking forward to that.
That's the thing that I hate Portugal about. We decriminalized weed or drugs in general, but we didn't legalize fucking weed. We could have legalized that. God damn it.
Yeah, we're still in the dark ages over here.
Yeah. Oh well, so, I have my bourbon. I got 2 bottles of bourbon. Jim Beam and 4 Roses. I like Kentucky bourbon, Nick. By the way.
No, Kentucky bourbon. Yeah. I mean,
yeah, it's superior to.
It has to be from Kentucky if you're going to call it bourbon.
Exactly. Yeah. Most of the shit that they drink here, oh come on, it's not shit. It's I don't like it as much. Is Jack Daniels? It's okay with Coke, but yeah, it's great.
Actually, no. You want to know something fun you can do is get an oak cask, fill it up with Jack Daniels, and let it sit for like 6 months. And when you tap it again, you'll probably find it a little more refined.
Yeah, exactly. I use it for cooking. I do the best Portuguese garlic prawns with Jack Daniels. So yeah,
I can see that working nicely actually.
I just drink beer. I drink beer. That's all I drink. Oh, occasionally cocktails.
You guys probably you might have seen Kraut's short video. The beer collection. He's sending all of those to me.
I extended.
He was showing me though because he found this Russian energy drink called Russian Power, which I'm pretty sure is just pure diesel fuel. And the same company puts out a vodka called Russian Power. So he's sending that along, and I'm interested to see what comes of that.
Do a good review, man.
Oh well, I mean, they're all going on the beer channel now because my column is done. But yeah, I mean, like I was actually going to take like 5 of the standard, like unidentifiable, Polish and Russian Eurotrash lagers, just like that, the simple Pilsner shit, and just do a live stream where I go through each of them, commenting on them, and then explaining how after drinking this much, I almost feel like I'm almost comfortable with the factory I've been placed at by the central authorities after becoming a doctorate of a doctor of classic literature. It's like, oh yes, I'm so glad our revolution came true. I drank a Chinese beer one time. I drank a shitty Chinese beer one time, and I reviewed it saying that it's a terrible beer, but I can, as I sip it and I taste how it's at least cold, I can sort of identify with the sense of melancholy depression that would come from being forcefully removed from your village and made to live in a sprawling urban shithole simply so that the government could put a new reservoir there for a city that no one will live in.
Exactly. They do have. China has a lot of ghost cities that they built, and there's no one there. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and terrible beer.
Exactly. Oh, of course. Yeah. So it's almost like French beer. Yeah.
Tsingtao. That's what we get.
I wouldn't even want to go that far. I wouldn't even want to try that.
Have you tried?
Don't.
Have you tried something called Hop House? That's all right.
Hop House?
Yeah. Is that a British beer or is it Irish?
It doesn't make it here. I know that.
I don't know it either.
Hop House 13.
My favorite.
Oh, it's Irish.
My favorite beer from the UK is a Scottish beer, and it's Innis and Gunn.
It's Scottish.
That is fucking awesome.
Yep.
It's
drunk that.
It's made by Guinness.
Yeah, well, Guinness owns a fuck ton of breweries.
Yeah. Well, the company that owns Guinness owns a fuck ton of breweries.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, I think Guinness is owned by InBev, and they recently did some shady shit. They bought up 85% of the South African hops market. Which means, because I mean, so for like hopheads, people who enjoy like hoppy IPAs and the like, like the IPAs as a style is getting more and more interesting because there's a brewery based out of where is it? It's Stone Brewing, also known as Arrogant Brewing, out of California, and they've been experimenting with New Zealand and Australian hops and hops from the Pacific Rim, and all of these different strains. Like the hop plant is actually a cousin of the cannabis plant. They have the same central genus, and just like cannabis, there are uncounted varieties of hops out there, all that offer their own different sort of thing. Like English hops and European hops in general are regarded as noble hops, and those are the ones you don't get that piney, sticky, resiny sort of feel
aftertaste.
Yeah, they're a bit smoother, more earthy. In fact, when I tried the Samuel Smith India Ale, which was one of the first, what became the IPA. When I first tried that, it was pretty rich in flavor. It wasn't particularly conventionally hoppy bitter as we understand it. And if I hadn't known ahead of time that it was a hopped India Ale, I would have never guessed. I know right of center, left as an Irishman, I personally hate Guinness.
Yeah,
I could say that with from a professional standpoint that yes, everyone knows that there are far better beers come out of Ireland than Guinness. Although I have heard it told from friends of mine with family over there that they always found it kind of they were always a little confused because when they'd get there, everyone would be drinking.
I've got
Budweiser.
news. Sorry to disappoint you guys. I mean, to interrupt you. So disappoint. Sorry, mate. You can continue, but Krauts just released his video.
Which one?
His run up.
Yeah, his run up. I think this is it. He was a good boy at Ozjar and Garrett Girton. I think that's it.
Yep, he was a good boy.
Anyway, continue. Sorry, Nick.
Oh, no, I'm just taking a look. I was just saying how there are far better Irish beers than Guinness. Guinness is it's funny. Guinness is a nice thing to introduce people to if they've never had a stout before and you don't want to give them some motor oil consistency malt bomb. If you don't want to scare them off with something that's like 12% and like darker than darker than a Mouthy Buddha video,
something that wouldn't look at a place in a Mad Max movie, right?
It's I mean, like I've had stouts, like an imperial stout I had one time. I loved I always love describing them as like, this is the kind of beer where as you slowly sip it and feel the warming of the high alcohol content, you're forced to stare into the inky blackness and review all of the decisions you've made in your life. It's just the darkness.
Growing up in Australia, after I passed 18, because I couldn't get into a pub before 18 years old, you know, they had the age limit. One day I went into a pub right near Victoria's Flinders Street station, well behind it. I asked for a Guinness. My father was with me, so we both had a Guinness. It had 9% alcohol. It was like eating bread. I mean, the ultimate thing was like eating the beer. That's how I judge beers. If I can eat them, the same sensation when you get that chewy feeling. And I've drank Guinness after that, and the one they sells in the cans with that dongle shit, that's crap.
Well, yeah, but there's a reason for the little dongle thing.
It's because of the nitrogen. Get this creamy shit in that. No,
only if it's a nitro.
Yeah, but the best Guinness I've been drinking lately is the Guinness Export Special, which has 8% alcohol.
That's not bad, no.
That is close as I can remember to the original Guinness of the 70s, late 70s, early 80s. So it's I remember tastes. I can remember them. Shit, I remember a fucking chocolate mousse type thing when I ate when I was about 5 years old in France, and I can still remember the taste.
I would I just drink whatever. I mean, I'm not a big spirits guy, but if there's a nice spirit that I find out, I'll drink that. So I like a bit of gin every now and then. I don't mind some cocktails because I now work in a pub, so they do cocktails, and I have some of the cocktails every now and then. Some of them are just dead sweet. Like I'm just.
Do you like lime as a flavor?
No, I don't have my beer with lime. I've tried it and it's nice, but it's just not something.
I don't mean lime in a beer. I just mean the flavor of lime in general.
Oh, I love it in my sweets. That's my favorite flavor.
You might like. Have you ever heard of a vodka gimlet?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a very popular drink. Really easy to drink. Really easy to sip, and quite tasty too.
You see, with lime, you know, I don't know if you guys have soft sweets like wine gums, which is just gelatin sweets that are sweet, you know, with different flavors. So you got black currant, strawberry, orange.
I remember those.
Lemon.
Yeah.
Like the lime was my favorite, and I don't know if it's the same in Portugal or America, but wasn't the green ones always dead rare?
I ate them in Australia, man. Forget Portugal. I'm more Australian than British than Portuguese.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
of course I know what you mean. Yeah.
Like where you are, do you have like anything that's equivalent of that? And does Nick as well? Because
oh
my god, that is lovely.
No, actually, no.
Lime flavored sweets, I just love them. But I don't know about drinks.
I love them as well, yeah. But drink, no, we don't have them here. That's some of the shit I miss from living in Australia.
Anyway, it's getting a bit late over here, so I think I'm going to end it here. Sorry about that, guys. It's getting really late.
Yep. No, I was just going to say the gin, vodka. To me, I'm too old-fashioned. I like vodka and orange juice, freshly squeezed orange juice. I might be that. And gin, Gordon's or Beefeaters and Schweppes. That is my gin. Anything else to me is fucking pansy.
Anyway, guys, I've had fun. It's been a good stream. We've had a few friends on. So, yeah. See you guys later.